And a very good morning to my online students as well. So guys, how was the weekend? What did you all do? So studied other subjects. That's important. Now creating a balance. Very good morning. So that balance is very important in UPSC. I hope that you are not being obsessed with economics only. Don't do that. Oh, wonderful. Very good morning. So thank you so much, CP, and a lot of blessings to you as well. Good to see you, Manu and Ayush. So, could you get a chance to very good morning, Ketan, Pavan, and Sucheta. Did you get a chance to revise what we did last time? Did you get a chance to revise? Did you find it very difficult? Or with revision, very good morning to Vibhor as well. Did you find it normal to handle? Because made small notes, yes, that was required. That was absolutely required because I told you that we are entering the technical part of economics now, where there will be minute details, very, very fine details will be there. These are the details which UPSC would like to test you. So again, we are going to enter into exchange rate first of all for some time. And then from here, from here we'll proceed to balance of payments. एक काम करते हैं, let me do something. So we'll first revise depreciation for some time, like 10 minutes. Then remember there was a chart which you had to write. So that chart we are going to write complete today. And then we'll go into some dictation part, which we didn't do that day because I had just introduced the topic. So for example, currency war dictation I didn't give now. So most of the dictations which I was planning to have, it is directly related to this chart which you are going to see. So depreciation, because these kind of questions are asked in mains also. They will ask you, explain the phenomenon of depreciation. What is the cause of depreciation? What is the solution? All these things they will ask. In prelims also they ask this. So first of all, we'll make notes of that. Then I'll teach you appreciation. Then I will teach you a little bit of general equilibrium. For the first time, little bit of general equilibrium, because more general equilibrium will come after inflation and capital market. A little bit I want to give you a hint that what would happen if everything in life changes. Very difficult. So for example, if suppose that the price of this pen is 10 rupees and I ask you that the price becomes 5, what will you do? You'll buy 2 pens. Simple. What if I bring general equilibrium and tell you that even if the price is coming down, your taste has changed and you don't like this pen? If the things are different. Or there is a new variety of the pen which you like more. That's general equilibrium. Then you won't be able to say that even if the price goes down, there will be a we are going to do this kind of general equilibrium also. And then I'll teach you a little bit of IMF today. Because in IMF, there is a concept called as SDR. And without SDR, it is not possible to understand exchange rate and balance of payment. So I'll give you the concept of SDR in as much detail as possible for UPSC. Once we are complete with SDR, then I'll give you the concept called as foreign exchange reserves. Once we are done with that, then we are ready to enter balance of payments. There is a sequence. Now, we are going to use Pankaj, whatever is important from UPSC perspective, definitely I'll do that. So I will take a call on what to do for your syllabus. So let me take control of that. Because abhi to you are learning, you won't be able to understand what you have to do, what you don't have to do. So don't worry about it. So if I feel it is important, definitely we'll do it. If I feel it's not important, we'll never do it. Because this is totally UPSC oriented. So don't worry about all those things. So let's come and see this depreciation. And guys, I request you for one thing, or two things rather. Number one. So first thing would be that if you are reading any textbook, etc., which I feel some of you are, don't do that. Because this is beyond textbook. Much beyond textbook that we are going. So textbook won't be able to do justice, number one. Number two, whatever we are doing in the class, stick to that. So for example, if you bring any new concept, which I haven't taught, if you start to use those words, I won't be able to use it because there is a time for using every word in economics. So if we mix too many things, it will become a khichdi and it will become so difficult to understand. So we are going in a very sequential manner. If you follow the sequence, I promise you, assure you, by the end of this topic, balance of payment and exchange rate, you will have zero doubts in this topic and you will understand the entire newspaper well. But you have to follow the sequence that we have decided. So this sequence really helps. Like for example, we never do it in a normal, academic cycle that we study IMF in between balance of payment. Nobody does that. But we will, because that's how it should be done. So that's why there is a particular way in which we are going to do it. Don't worry about it. It will become very easy for you. Chaliye, please focus on the board and please tell me what you understand from here. See, now there is, I want to show you a few things. Can I have 2 white sheets? A slightly different way of learning depreciation or appreciation. So for example, now see guys, if you want to buy $1, this is $1, huh? The quantity is less, and this is very good morning, Manas. This quantity is less, $1, and this is 40 rupees. You can see that the quantity is more. Look at the quantity, $1, 40 rupees, $1 and 40 rupees, right? If you want to buy $1, you will have to give this big amount, 40 rupees. It clearly shows that this is important for the world, this is less important. How do you decide this is less important? Based on your economic size, based on your defense capabilities, based on what is your contribution in global trade, based on so many factors, you decide whether this is weak or strong. This is slightly weak compared to this. Now, what is the meaning of depreciation? The meaning of depreciation is, try to be with me, you will be able to answer all questions. What is the meaning of depreciation? Depreciation would mean that currently, if you have $1, if you sell it in the market, you will get how many rupees? 40 rupees. Or other way around, suppose that I have 40 rupees in my hand and I badly need $1. Why do I need $1? Because through that $1, I want to buy some electronic gadgets from USA. But I have rupee in India. I am an Indian, I have only rupee, I don't have dollar. So where do I go? I go to some currency dealer, I tell them, hey boss, I have 40 rupees, can you give me dollar? He'll say, yeah, $1. So that is called as exchange. Exchange has already happened, but normally this is the exchange, $1 is equal to 40 rupees, but today what would happen is, when I go to the currency dealer and I tell the dealer, that hey dealer, you know, I need $1, how much of rupee would you charge? So the dealer tells me that, sir, today the value of your dollar is not, value of your rupee has gone down. I will say, why has it gone down? So he says, it has gone down because your economy is not performing well, nobody respects you. I'll say, nobody respects me because economy is not here. So many economies don't do well. So he says, yeah, but your defense also took a hit. China has just crossed your border and your reputation in the global market is very bad that you won't be able to defend yourself. Based on so many factors, we feel that your currency does not have too much value. So I'll say, what does it mean that my currency does not have value? So the person tells me that, sir, now you need $1. Don't pay 40 rupees. You please pay 80 rupees, which means you have to pay these 2 pieces of papers. Which means now if I need this $1, I need to give these 2 papers, 40, 40, 80 rupees. Obviously, my value has gone down, as simple as that. Now, the question is, when this happens, what is the impact of this phenomenon on export? See, that's your depreciation. $1 is equal to 40 rupees. Now it has become $1 is equal to 80 rupees. So what is the impact that when $1 is equal to 80 rupees, what is the impact on export? Just quickly recap. So let's see that suppose there is a pen in India whose price is 40 rupees. Now there is $1 which is there with a US guy. That US guy brings it in India and says, I need a pen. Now $1 is equal to 40 rupees, which means I'm talking about a phase when $1 is equal to this 40 rupees. So suppose a foreigner brings $1 to India, we will give them the pen, as simple as that. Right? This is normal. But now imagine $1 is equal to 80 rupees, which means this. So now when the foreigner brings $1 to India, we are going to convert this dollar into these 2 pieces of papers, 80 rupees. With each piece of paper, he can buy 1 pen. 2 pieces of papers, 2 pens. See, 2 pens. Your export has increased. Now, always remember this, for a competitive exam, there is a certain way of preparing. Whenever you will see economics or a subject like economics, and you see that when depreciation happened, what is depreciation? $1.40 becomes $1.80. Our value goes down. Whenever depreciation has happened, export has a tendency to increase. Now, if somebody will ask you a question, what will happen to import? Straight away, without even thinking, say import will fall. If you do, I have shown you that in the previous lecture. This example, smartphone. If you remember this example, that imports will fall, exports will increase. Acha, when do things increase? Things increase when they become cheaper. So for a foreigner, he or she feels that earlier the foreigner was giving $1 to India and he was getting 1 pen only. Now the foreigner is giving $1, but now they are getting 2 pens. So they feel that pen has become cheaper. Right, this is what the people understand from the market. So whenever you will see that depreciation will happen, depreciation will lead to increase in export, and always tell your mind that, acha, theek hai, it's a competitive exam. I have already seen the reason, etc. So let me directly use the result that whenever depreciation happens, import will have a tendency to fall. And this is that example which I showed you in the last lecture. So now if you have to write all this, so how would you write this? You'll write it like this, that suppose there is depreciation or devaluation. Achha, what is the meaning of depreciation or devaluation? What is the difference? Depreciation would happen because of market forces, and devaluation happens when RBI deliberately does something to the currency. When it happens because of interference of RBI, that is called devaluation. And when it happens because of demand and forces, demand and supply forces in the market, it is called depreciation. I'll show you deeper into it. I'll take you deeper into it today. That's why we are revising. So depreciation or devaluation, what does it mean? $1 is equal to 40 rupees becomes $1 is equal to 80. That is the meaning of depreciation or devaluation. What happens because of that? Export and import, these two things are impacted. Absolutely. And what did we see? What happens to export? Export increases, import falls. And I showed you something that a foreigner thinks, whether it happens or not doesn't really matter. But the foreigner thinks that Indian goods have become cheaper because his or her $1 is going to fetch 2 pence now. So a foreigner imagines in the mind that, okay, pen has become cheaper. Now look at this perception. Now, opposite will happen to import. So import starts to look costly. Why? Because now, imagine what has happened. I want to buy a pen. So I'm an Indian. See what is the impact on me. I'm an Indian. I want to buy a pen in USA. So for that pen, I need $1. Earlier, I just used to give 40 rupees and get $1. Now I will have to give this 80 rupees. 2 pieces of paper, then I get $1 so that I can buy a pen. So that's why things look very costly for me. So that's why it says that import becomes costly and import falls. This is the normal thing. And mind you, how do you denote this? There is something called balance of payment, very easy formula for today's lecture. Right, I'll complicate this later on. But not today. So last lecture also I told you that we will use the simple formula, which is absolutely balance of payment is equal to export minus import. What will be the impact on export? Export will go up and import will go down. So you should develop this habit that whenever you write these things, you should write like this: export up, import down. Whenever this happens, balance of payment has a positive impact. That's what happens normally. But then who said that India is a normal country? I mean, it doesn't mean that India is a normal country, but India was never normal. India is a unique country, and you understand, we have a bro code, right? India is unique. So what happens to India? Now, look at the nature of India's export and import. When export becomes cheaper, look at this carefully. When export becomes cheaper, India should ideally increase export. But one problem which I taught you that India faces in industries is low value addition. Remember, we had a huge debate on that. Okay, low value addition, we sell raw material, we sell intermediate goods, and government of India somehow wants to increase the value addition. Why? Because we do assembly only. Bring the components from rest of the world, assembly and then export, which means how much will you get? Nothing. Rice, wheat, cereal, fruits, vegetable, these are the things we are exporting mostly. Up to we have started to change a little bit. But even in the change scenario, you are not literally producing all the components, you are assembling all the components. So how much money will you get? So even if there is a chance to increase export, you won't be able to increase export, or your monetary value that you get is very low. Why? Because you are selling low valued exports. So which means the benefit that you are going to get here, because you are increasing the export, the benefits will be very low in monetary terms. In volume terms, it will be very high. But what is India selling? Pen. This is what we sell. So whenever depreciation happens, initially we are selling 100 pens, now we'll sell 500 pens. So be it. Or if you sell 500 pen, what will happen? Little more dollars. It is not high valued items. So the problem that happens to India is we obviously increase it, but it's mostly low valued export. Hence the benefit is very small, like this. Look at the box size. This is the benefit. Now, look at import. What do we import? I'm going to write a few things that we import. Dekhna, ha? We import crude oil. We import metal. We import raw material for medicines, active pharmaceutical ingredients. Look at the other dangerous import: gold, silver, raw diamonds. These are the things that we import. Look at the nature of these commodities. Unbelievably costly. So what will happen? Your import is becoming costly, and these are the imports which are essential for Indian economy, because Indian economy survives on this, which means you cannot reduce your import. Even if you want, you cannot reduce your import. What will you not import? Will you not import oil? Of course you have to import. Will you not import your gold and diamond? Because if you don't do that, half of your industry related to gold, diamond and jewelry will be wiped out from India. It will lead to mass scale unemployment. So we can't do all those things. So which means that our import is going to be quantity wise, volume wise, it will be fixed. Money wise, our import bill will increase. So what will happen? What will be the effect on India? Yes, export is increasing. Little bit of some import will come down, but whatever we are importing, it will look very costly. J-curve effect. So it leads to something called as J-curve effect. That's your J-curve effect, which we studied. So what is J? This is your balance of payment line. So what happens when you do depreciation? See, when you do depreciation, you're actually, or devaluation happens. So when devaluation or depreciation will happen in India, the balance of payment actually will go down. It will go in the negative zone. Negative, negative, negative. In fact, for India, let me tell you a dangerous thing. It goes like this. It goes below the line. And actually balance of payment becomes negative. And then it starts to become positive in the long run. So in fact, this is not the line for India. The line for India is this. This is what happens. Now, I have a solution to this problem that India is facing. Look carefully, bacho. The solution to this problem is, that imagine that a day comes when India starts to export high value items and India finds substitutes of costly imports, which means that India starts to find new suppliers of raw material, or India starts to manufacture the raw material itself, like the raw material for medicine, like the semiconductor chip. India says, I will manufacture all those things, right? So India finds us, or India relies less on coal-based energy. India starts to rely more on solar energy. So we find a lot of substitutes of the costly imports that we are doing. And in terms of exports, suppose India starts to export high value items. India says, no, I will manufacture locally. Instead of buying components from other countries and assembling it, I will manufacture locally. And which are the programs which are helping the government of India or Indian economy to increase the value addition? PLI, Make in India, brilliant. So these are some, at least these two programs, so you can blindly say they are helping. Yes, Make in India and PLI. MSMEs also, there are so many programs that I taught you. MSME champions, if you remember. Champions help you to increase the value addition, research and development. Imagine if those programs become successful. So now then what will happen? The moment devaluation or depreciation occurs in India, immediately our export will go up and our value of import will go down, because we have substitutes. We are not dependent on others now. So that means this J-curve effect will go away. But do you think it will happen in one day, overnight? It's not going to happen overnight. But there is something good which has happened. And this is the current affairs part which I wanted to discuss today. Over a period of time, what has happened, which I taught you in industry, see the connection between industries and balance of payment. Over a period of time, India has been able to increase the production of some of the items like mobile phone. Our export has increased and mobile phones are costly. So now there is one thing which is mobile phone. Secondly, toys. In toys sector, India is almost becoming a global leader. In terms of footwear and textile, all of a sudden India's contribution has increased. And I can give you one real life example about automobile, what has happened in India. So yesterday only, because today I had a lecture with you, so yesterday I was doing some data update. I just opened automobile sector in India, and I know that Tatas, Mahindras, they are manufacturing almost 100% components in India itself. But I was interested in some other companies like Kia and MG Hectors. I wanted to see what they are doing in India. So are they bringing all the components from China, MG Hector, etc., and are they assembling it in India? But then I read the documents and I found that earlier they were. Now 75% of the components of these vehicles like MG Hector, it is being manufactured locally in India, in Indian plants. It's 75% make in India now. and it started with 0%. It was just assembling in India, but there was so much pressure from the government and the public. In fact, public reaction was also very bad against them recently. So public also has been telling that, where have you made it? This debate started, and then these companies are actually impacted by these kind of debates. And then there was government pressure. So they realized, and plus there is a third thing. India is a global leader in automobile. So all the components that they were importing from other countries, no, China, etc., they realized same components available at lower price in India, in Daryaganj area. So they said, chalo, wahi se let us take all the components and let us assemble it and convert it into MG Hector. I mean, I know I exaggerated by saying Daryaganj area, but I mean to say that it is available area. Go to Chennai, you will find all the components. And the accessories you will find in Karol Bagh area. Go to Daryaganj, you will find all the spare parts for repair. Everything is there, right? Don't ask about the quality. Now, so now look at this. So what has happened to this J-curve effect? Now, J-curve effect says that when you depreciate or devalue, your export will increase, import should fall down, but in India, this was not happening. In India, export was increasing very less, import was actually very costly. So now what is happening with substitutes and with Make in India, our J-curve effect is becoming like this. Now it is not going in the negative zone. So there has been a shift in the J-curve effect, which means now whenever devaluation happens, we don't fall below the line. We are actually above the line, which means yes, we become worse, but the level of worsening is less. And why this gap has happened? Now, why don't we fall down so much? Because we have improved our Make in India and PLI, and plus we have diversified our imports little bit after COVID. We have more friends from whom we buy the raw material. Number two, we have also been manufacturing some raw materials within India itself. Like for example, under PLI, the active pharmaceutical ingredients that we were buying from China, 30% of that is manufactured successfully in India now. Which means that if somebody will ask you, please explain why J-curve of India is shifting up. The reason that you will say is because of programs like Make in India, PLI, our export is increasing. And number two, because of the same programs, our raw material or things like active pharmaceutical ingredient, etc., or other inputs, India is becoming self-sufficient, not 100%. Either we are becoming self-sufficient or we have diversified the supply chain, which means we have more friends who are supplying us these things at lower prices. So, yeah, your friend is right. Your friend has just mentioned one example of Apple. But today I was in a mood to take different examples, so I didn't take the example of Apple. Yes, yesterday Apple released a report and said that the best country, one of the best countries in the world to do business currently is in India. And they are saying that we are so happy with the response. Indians are taking so much of EMIs that they are saying that we will open 7 flagship stores in India, and especially to cater to all the regions of India. I mean, look at the increasing consumerism, right? So, but I wanted to talk about other important things today, but yes, Apple being one of them. The automobile sector, and especially I was interested in talking about Hector, because Hector was almost literally bringing everything from China. So now 75% in India, 25% China. So one allegation against Hector was that it is completely almost made in China, assembled in India. Now it's 75% made in India, 25% assembled. That's a good thing which has happened. This is your phenomenon which I am going to dictate to you. What is the impact of depreciation? So let's first write, please write, give a title, J-curve effect, very important for this year. Acha, you know the difference? Again, let me tell you what is the difference with last year and this year. Last year I taught this point, negative, but this positive point had not happened. This year it has slightly increased. Your content has slightly increased. Current affairs is there. So please write J-curve effect, okay? That when a currency depreciates, or devalued, please put a dash and write number A. You should develop the habit of writing like this. It will be so easy for you to revise. Number A, please write export as like this, increases, import falls, right? And then you should do like this, balance of payment expected to improve. Balance of payment expected to improve. and then you should write export minus import increases. That is what is called improvement. Balance of payment is expected to improve. Fine. Now, please write that, but India is unique. Right? Take low, India is unique. Full stop. Now please write. We mostly export low valued items. We mostly export low valued items. Low valued items. Like raw material or intermediate goods. Raw material or intermediate goods. India has focused more on assembly instead of local manufacturing. Instead of local manufacturing. Okay, bachcho? So we have written about India's problems related to export. Now change the paragraph. Let us write about what is India's import. So change the paragraph and please write India mostly imports essentials like crude oil, comma metal, like crude oil, comma metal, food. We import food also. Raw material for medicines, and so on. Full stop. Now please write a note. This note is very crucial. India's nature of export and import is heavily distorted against India. In other words, even during devaluation or depreciation, the benefit in terms of increased exports, are limited, whereas import becomes costly and unavoidable, leading to extremely high import bill, leading to extremely high import bill. Hence, especially in the short run, India's balance of payment gets negatively impacted. India's balance of payment gets negatively impacted. Change the paragraph, please, and then write. But in the long run, in the long run, if our export increases and we are able to find substitutes, related to imports, related to imports, our BOP would improve. This is called J-curve effect. J-curve effect. Next part is very crucial, guys. This part is directly from newspaper, not from textbook. So please write impact of Make in India and PLI. Very crucial. Impact of Make in India and PLI on J-curve. Impact of Make in India and PLI on J-curve. Impact of Make in India and production linked incentive PLI on J-curve. By the way, you know, one of the outcomes, positive outcomes that you should expect from a program like this is that by the time you are done with almost like 70 to 80% of the syllabus here, so we'll be completing 70 to 80% syllabus one day and one day 100 also. So by the time we are done with 70-75% syllabus or 80% syllabus, we should be in a position that if we read some article in the newspaper, or for example, somebody asks us a simple question that can you please tell us what will be the impact of Make in India? Make in India is a useless program, not helping us. Immediately we should be able to give a 5-hour lecture to that person that yes, it has limitations, but let me tell you what it has already done for us. And then we should be able to link Make in India with 20 other topics in economics, including employment, job creation, exports, J-curve effect. All this we should be able to do. Plus geopolitics as well. Because Make in India is not just about program in India, it is also about big geopolitics which is at play, which we will see over a period of time. This should be the empowerment that should happen within us. And I think that now onwards, because we are entering into hardcore technical core areas of economics, it should become easy for us. Like for the first time, you are going to get an exposure that the topic which we studied at the first topic in the class, which is industries, what is its connection with balance of payment. So one diagram you should be drawing with me immediately, and you should draw like this. We have already drawn it so many times, but again, please draw. And then you should write that original J-curve for India. This is original J-curve for India, which is not good. It's negative, see. And then here you should write short run, and here you should write long run. So in long run, yes, we might benefit. Absolutely, absolutely. Your friend Manu is saying, yes, sir, I have observed that UPSC always links the topic. Absolutely. But when will the linking happen? I'll tell you. This is the way I'm teaching you guys. So for example, there is A, B, C, D, E, F. So when I'm teaching you A, I will never refer to all these points. Never. Come what may. When I teach you B, I will not refer to anything else. But the moment I reach here, all of a sudden you will see that I'll connect everything with everything else. This is how it will look like. But for that we have to reach. Because if I do this initially, we will never be able to move forward. Because without the weapons, if I push you into a war and say fight it out, very difficult. So yes, one day we will. In fact, today we are going to. Okay, original J-curve effect for India. Now guys, you are smart. So you see what is happening? Because of Make in India, etc. This is our new J-curve effect. So you should write it. The new J-curve, and you should draw an arrow like this. And then what is this arrow? We should explain in our diagram, and we should write that this arrow is what? This arrow is Make in India, PLI, right? Supply chain management, which means we are able to find more suppliers of raw material. So not every supplier is looting us. For example, Russia is in trouble. We said, Russia, you sell oil to us at cheaper rates. We took the benefit. Similarly, India is focusing more on renewable energy. Similarly, India has convinced Taiwan to manufacture the components, semiconductor chip within India. So that's why our imports are getting positively impacted, which means our import bill will fall down in future. So this has shifted now. It is shifting actually. If you ask me where is it going, we don't know. But is it shifting? Yes. At the moment, we can simply say because of these programs, it is shifting up. So please write. Currently, below this diagram, currently, we are observing a shift in the upward direction. Currently, we are observing a shift in the upward direction, leading to improvement of J curve. It is happening mainly because of programs like Make in India, PLI, supply chain management, and so on and so on. So there is one thing for which I'm really excited today. I hope I'm able to do that today with you. I get really happy when I have to teach SDRs and IMF. I don't know, for some reason. So today I have planned to teach you most important part of IMF. Anybody can teach you number of members in IMF 190, etc. So this is easy. But the real part is the SDR part. Why SDR? What SDR? How do you treat SDR? The real fun lies in these parts. So I'm really excited to teach you that today, and we'll establish a direct connection between SDR, balance of payment, all those things. So, but before that, we have to build this base. So let us complete the base part, and then of course we'll go into the higher level things. Now, look at this. This is one concept which I taught you last class, but I didn't give you any dictation on this. And I also taught you something called as beggar thy neighbor policy. Now see, currency war. If you have understood, great. If you have not, that's your chance to understand. Okay. Harsh, everything fine? Very good. So, Devanshu, all okay? And Manu, took the advice? Very nice. Cool. So, who joined us late? Rajan, all okay? Abhishek? Abhishek, I never see you too often. Huh? What have you done? You have changed your name. Right? PM is there. Suganya, you joined little late. All okay? All fine at your end? And that reminds me that I forgot to respond to your mail. Really sorry. Now it reminds you. Okay, I'll respond to it today. All right. Cool. And you have also joined little late, PP. Okay, left 2 pages. Cool. Now guys, come back. Focus. So I taught you last class, and today we are going to go little deeper into it to understand intuitively what is happening around us. See, now let's talk about world trade. I have got some amazing statistics for you related to world trade. When we complete almost the entire balance of payment and all, then I will give you some pointers related to, and this will be in the form of a handout, which I'll also discuss in the class, but you will get a nice handout related to it, where everything will be mentioned at what is India's contribution in global trade, what is India's contribution in trade related to goods, what is India's contribution in trade related to services, all these, not heavy data, but 1 or 2 data is required, because such questions are asked in prelims. So they will ask you questions, for example, that India's contribution in the export of goods in the world is increasing since last 5 years. This question is asked. So for that, we need to know what is India's contribution. This is very interesting part. But let's see, first of all, qualitatively, without any data, what is the meaning? So there is something called world trade. What does world trade mean? So for example, country 1, country 2, country 3, and here's our India, unique country, country 4. The meaning of world trade, world trade is that from this country, India imports a few things, to this country, India exports a few things. See? From this country, again, India imports a few things, and there is another country here, country number 5, India exports. That is how the world trade goes. And every other country behaves like this. So, for example, this country is supplying a few things to India. This country is supplying a few things to this country. Everybody is interdependent. That is how the world trade is. But now imagine 2-3 things happening. I'll give an example. Now what has happened is, this is, let's say, Canada. Not Canada, but China. I will target Canada some other day. China, right? Today I'm very happy with China because of the border issues. So now this is China and that's your USA. Now देखो, what is the problem here? The problem is that there are a lot of things that China provides to US. And what would it mostly be? For example, steel. For example, mobile phone ka almost the entire component is manufactured here, it comes here. But where is the designing of the mobile phone done? The real R&D happens here. And from here, the design goes here, and from here, the factories produce and bring it here. This is how the textile industry works here. This is how automobile industry works here. Literally every industry is working like that only. So from here, the R&D and the design is passed on to the factories, and this is called as the global factory of the world, or factory of the world, or global factory, manufacturing hub. And from here, the finished product reaches here. But suppose there is a problem. The problem is, this country says, China says, because now China wants to promote its own R&D, which actually happened after 1970s. So China started to tell, you mister, if you are going to send anything to my country, for example, design of 5 mobile phones, I will accept only 1. And the remaining 4 mobile phones, you don't have to send it to me. If you want that this China should manufacture the mobile phone, you please send your entire R&D team here and you do the R&D locally. We will not accept the R&D which you have done outside China because we are not contributing. And it will always have a logo that, the design R&D has been done in USA. So China says, sorry, if you want to manufacture in our country, and this is a rule which they adopted. And which date exactly, or which year is this when China started to talk in this language? 1990. Exactly in 1990, China changed its tone and China said, earlier China was saying, you want to bring money, no problem. You want to bring design from outside, no problem. From 1970s when revolution happened, China started to say, no problem, you send money, you send design. But 1990s China said, if you want to do business in China, please don't send your design from here. You have to do 2 things. You send your dollars, plus you send your R&D team. And you establish the R&D facility here. And immediately this country started to say, but where do we establish the facility? China said, some place called as smart cities. This is how the concept of smart cities came in the world. So if you go to China, if you go to all the border areas of China, you will see the biggest of smart cities. And the reason being that this policy started in China in 1990. China said, no, if you want to manufacture, please send your R&D team and please create a base in China. Here you should do the R&D in the smart cities. Now, initially it looked okay. Later on, what did China do? Later on, China started to say, third phase, 1990, this was done. And then starting from 2005, around 2005, China started to say that if you send your R&D team, then the patent has to be done, or the copyright, whatever it is, depending on the material or the formula, it has to be done in China. It will not be regarded as a US product. Wow, that's something interesting. So first China was saying that, no, send your team. You do the research here, you use the research. But then China started to say, no. If you are sending the R&D team and doing something here, even if it's your R&D team, but the product should be registered in Chinese name. That this belongs to China, it has been. Which means that if you want to take the product design out, you have to take permission of China and pay the money to China. Amazing kind of policy. Entire world started to say, are you crazy? China said, no, we are not crazy. We have made you dependent. And now we'll behave like this. If you don't like it, leave. But where will you leave? Because where is the labor force present? Nowhere. They are giving you the best of policies. So what happened? All the companies, mostly they said, okay, big companies did not, but the small ones, the new ones, they said, okay, we will compromise, etc., etc. But then entire world started to say, this is nothing but trade barrier. This is barrier. Which means, what is China actually doing? China is actually indirectly trying to tell that either you give everything to us or don't come. But directly you can't say these things because it will malign your image in the global platform and everybody will go and complain to WTO. I'll teach you WTO. Everybody will go and complain to WTO. So you can't do these things directly. So how do you do it? You say that, no, you do R&D in my country. What will WTO say in this? WTO will say they are promoting R&D. Look how they beat the system. So now they started to say, if you want to operate here, you do the R&D and that has to be registered in Chinese soil. You can't take that design out. This is trade barrier actually. This is a very subtle form of discrimination. Trade. Why should somebody who is going from USA, the scientist, design the product here and then register the product in Chinese name? I mean, it doesn't really make sense. So many of the factories, they left China. They said, bye China, we are going to Thailand and Vietnam. And there started a new chapter, right? Thailand, Vietnam, etc. That story started from Singapore, right? They started, and then little bit of India. So, yahan tak to everything was fine. That, okay, somebody's loss is somebody's gain. But they lost. And some countries gained. It did not stop here. Then came the second thing, which happened around 2017. And if you combine both of them, you'll realize what a bad policy. So first of all, China started to do this, and the gain was experienced by countries like India, for example, Thailand and Vietnam and Singapore. But then around 2017, remember what happened in 17? There was this GST in India, demonetization of 2016, and then there was a global slowdown. Global slowdown happened in 2018 and 19. So world was not going through a good phase. Why global slowdown happened? I repeat this in every lecture, because the oil prices were high in 2018-19. Oil prices were high, inflation was there in the global market. Everything was costly. What did China do at that time? China immediately, and I have taught you this in trade. What did China do at that time? China said that, hey USA, I'm going to send you steel. USA said, normally you do every year. Was big. So China said, no, this time my steel price is very low. USA said, why? China said, because everybody is selling costly steel, I want to sell cheaper steel. USA tried to find out what actually happened. Yeah, export subsidy. I have taught you this in trade barrier. So what did China do? China started to dump the steel. And what is meaning of dumping? Cost of manufacturing is suppose rupees 100 a kg, and you are selling the product at rupees 99 or 100 a kg, which means you are not making profits at all. That's dumping. So China started to dump the product. Immediately USA said, acha, you are dumping the product. So what am I going to do? I will put exports, taxes over you. Import duties. Because USA is importing the steel, so USA put import duties. Now China said, acha, you are putting import duties. Let me devalue my currency. Right? So what did China do? Devaluation of currency. First China's dumped, and when duties were imposed, China said simple, I'll devalue my currency. Which means, if you send $1, I'll send you this much of steel. What is the intention? Intention was to shut down the US factories. This was the target. The target was shut down the US factories, shut down the Canadian factories, so that China would dominate in terms of steel. Yeah, eliminate the rivals. Absolutely, good use of words. They didn't want to beat the competition. They wanted to eliminate the competition. So first, they dumped by reducing the price, but they realized, acha, US counterattack by putting a tax. So they said devalue. So Chinese renminbi devalued. And when you devalue the currency, all of a sudden export will happen. So see what China did? Export to US. And here's India. China said, India, we are coming. India said, don't. We are one of the largest steel manufacturers in the world. So you can't come to us. China said, acha, I have devalued my currency. Be ready. So what happened in India also? Some of the Indian companies started to bring steel from China because they said Chinese steel is cheaper. That's what devaluation does. Now see the impact of that. Because they devalued, and because the market of USA was flooded with Chinese steel, and US owned companies washed out. Immediately US said, I will also devalue. Why did they devalue? They could have increased the tax. They had already increased the tax. 38%, 28% tax on Chinese steel. Abhi, what tax will you impose? 28 to 38% was the new tax which was imposed on Chinese steel. You can't put a 200% tax. 38% already done. So now USA said, I will also devalue my dollar. So devalued. And very slowly and softly, RBI said, me too. I am also impacted. I will also disturb. And we follow dirty floating. So RBI said, little bit of me also. So now they devalued, and that's your favorite country, Japan. They said, why am I left behind? I should also join. They also devalued. When everybody is devaluing, see what is the impact? Now India said, I don't want to purchase your steel. I have devalued. I want to sell. China said, I also want to sell. US said, I also want to sell. Japan said, I also want to sell. There are some countries who are waiting that, when will our turn come? We told them, we wait. Because we are going towards almost like a trade war. This actually happened. So who was buying? Nobody. No consumer. So every country had huge pile up of inventory. India had a lot of steel, China had steel, US had steel. But mind you, what did USA do? USA did something unique which very few countries do. USA imposed a tax also, import duties plus devaluation also, combination. Whereas China and India and Japan, they were mostly indulging in devaluation. Nobody wants to buy, everybody wants to sell. So what will happen to the steel factories in India? They are ready with a lot of stock. Nobody is buying, job losses. What happened to China? Job losses. What happened to US? Job losses. Everybody is getting impacted. And what about these countries? They are happy, they are saying, us. So all these countries came together, they said, we are going to sell to you. This country ran away. These countries said, because you guys are very disturbing in nature, so we are not going to talk to you. Because see, geopolitics. Because if this country buys from here, or if this country selects China, US will be angry. And there are blocks in the world, geopolitics. So even if you know, your friend is saying, sometimes it becomes very toxic, sir. Life becomes toxic. Absolutely. Totally with you. So sometimes what happens in life is, guys here, if this country comes to USA and says, I will buy your steel, China and India are going to ridicule this country and say, Acha, you bought the steel, now who will send you medicines? Are you understanding the problem in the global scenario? So that's why many times what these countries prefer to do is, thank you so much, I'm here. Now, who has lost in this process? Entire world. Entire world. World trade got impacted. Did we suffer job losses? Yeah. So let me show you a timeline. You are going to feel so bad that, Acha, this really happened. So 2016 demonetization, 2017 GST, 2017, 18 and 19, there is something called as trade barrier plus currency war, along with inflation in the world. That's what happened between these years. So just before COVID, if somebody asks you a question that, why do we see India's GDP already slowing down? Obviously it will slow down because we started the process in 16 itself. We decided that we have to reduce the GDP. It was going too well. So we decided that something has to be done to destroy. To control. So 2016 we started, 17 we succeeded in reducing our GDP, and then we wanted to improve. But then the world came and world said, chalo, let's fight a war, which is trade war. Trade war plus currency war, that's the combination. I wanted to use this word when I was teaching you trade, currency war, but I could not. Because to explain currency war, I needed at least this much of lecture. So now I can tell you that between 17, 18 and 19, these 3 years, heavy trade war. Heavy trade, yes, your friend is right. She's saying those who don't know this concept, they might feel just that India didn't do well. No, it was not India. India was a part of a bigger game. India was just a small pawn. The big countries who were doing this bigger game was China, USA and Japan. India was just a small entity in that. India had no big role. So, but yes, we were also trying to show our attitude that don't mess with us, even though nobody messed. But we also wanted some footage, so we said we will also jump. So nobody even noticed us. So what happened here? 17, 18, 19, these things happen. What is the meaning of beggar thy neighbor policy? Beggar thy neighbor policy is a combination of two things. Look carefully. Beggar thy neighbor policy means, first of all, everybody devalues, and second, trade barriers are created. A combination of these two is called as beggar thy neighbor. If you only take this, that's not beggar thy neighbor, because there is another way in which you can hurt your neighbor through trade, which is this. So combination of these two is called beggar thy neighbor. But devaluation is one of the things. Now this is not a simple devaluation. It is called as currency war. This term I didn't tell you that day. One, I told you currency war. It is also called as competitive devaluation, which means that it looks as if countries are competing against each other in devaluation. That you devalue, I will also devalue. I devalue, third country devalues. Everybody is competing against it. So that's why in UPSC they might ask you this question, that what do you mean by competitive devaluation? Actually, it's nothing but it's currency war only. So what did we observe? Currency war or competitive devaluation plus trade barrier led to beggar thy neighbor policy. This led to global slowdown, especially in 18 and 19. There was a big newspaper article phase where every newspaper was writing every day that the world is suffering from investment slowdown. You Google, you'll find all this. 17 investment slowdown, 2018 investment slowdown, 2019 investment. Why investment slowdown? They didn't explain it properly. The meaning of investment slowdown is, I'll show you. The meaning of investment slowdown is USA is not able to sell its steel. China is not able to sell steel. India is not able to sell steels. What happened? Inventory happened. Now you are not able to clear your inventory. So will you make new investment in your factory? No. So investment slowdown happened. And when your investment slowdown will happen, will it lead to job creation or job losses? Job losses. What will happen to GDP? Gone. GDP is also gone. So this actually happened. So which diagram will you draw for currency war? You will draw this. And then you just need to write trade barrier, and this will be equal to beggar thy neighbor. So have you given a title currency war? No. So do one thing. You please give a different title. Don't write currency war. Please write beggar thy neighbor. Under that I'll teach you currency war. So please write this title, beggar thy neighbor. Beggar thy neighbor. No, it was initiated by USA, China and Japan. These three countries. I told you, India tried to jump, but we are such a small entity in global trade that we really don't matter. No, this is the title. The title is beggar thy neighbor policy. That's your title. Beggar thy neighbor policy. Please write that it contains all the steps. Yes, Suganya, correct. Good interlinkage. It contains all the steps that are taken by a country to improve its own trade, by hurting others. Or at the cost of others. And you should write like this, BTN. So please write BTN, change the paragraph and write BTN, beggar thy neighbor. BTN takes place through two instruments. Number one, trade barrier. Please put a dash and write, it is of two types. We have already done this, so I won't waste your time. It is of two types, tariff and non-tariff barrier. It is of two types, tariff and non-tariff barrier. Excessive use of trade barrier. Please write excessive use of trade barrier. Excessive use of trade barrier is called as trade war. Excessive use of trade barriers is called as trade war. Fine, so that's the first reason, that when countries indulge in trade war, it is also called as beggar thy neighbor policy. Number two, please write. Second instrument, you know it. Please write competitive devaluation or currency war. Competitive devaluation or currency war. Competitive devaluation or currency war. Please write. When two or more countries deliberately devalue their currency, to increase their export. put a comma and please write, they actually end up by negatively impacting each other. Please put a full stop and write. In other words, when everyone wants to sell and no one wants to buy, comma, there would be huge amount of unsold stock. There would be huge amount of unsold stock. Which would ultimately reduce future investments comma, GDP, output and employment. Now please write example, and then this answer would be complete. Example. Around 2017, 18 and 19. Around 2017, 18 and 19. We observe BTN, beggar thy neighbor, especially between USA, China, and Japan. USA, China, and Japan. Very briefly, India was also dragged into it. But we were able to keep our economy away from this aggressive policy. So basically, USA wanted India to join hands, and USA said, India, you also join, because you are also one of the largest supplier of steel in the world. You also devalue. So together we will rule the world. So briefly, what happened is in India, little bit of devaluation, little bit, not deliberately, but so I won't call it devaluation, depreciation happened. But then what happened, because we follow dirty float. So some depreciation happened, and then India realized that, oh, if I become active player in this currency war and the beggar thy neighbor policy, somebody will attack me also in future. And then they will cite this example saying that in the past, India, you also did that, so you deserve this punishment. So India actively said that, no, I don't want to participate in all this. If some mistake has happened because of some market forces like demand and supply, I want to make corrections. India immediately corrected and kept itself out. USA was so angry with India that why India did not go for devaluation, that USA said that India, I'm also putting tariff barriers over you. We said, which tariff barrier? So they said, if you export steel to us, 28% taxes over you also. 38% on China and 28% taxes on us. This was the gift that USA gifted us around 2018. And why did USA do that? Because USA wanted India to devalue at that time. And why? Because USA wanted more allies. They wanted to impact China. They said, India, you can take this hit for some time. And anyway, it will help you. But India said that I don't want to become an active partner in devaluation, because overall we will lose out. And in future, it might set a bad precedence. And that's the reason that USA got very angry. And the moment India refused, India said, I don't want to become active in all this. So immediately US, they imposed a tariff barrier against India. India also retaliated. For the first time in the history of Indian economy, the moment USA imposed, this thing we are not going to write. The moment USA imposed tariff barrier against us because we are exporting steel to US, 28% import duties on Indian steel. Immediately India said, okay, US, do this. Our reaction is as follows. We started to make a list of all the important commodities that India is buying from US, including mobile phones. So we made a list of important commodities. Roughly 300 commodities are very important, which we get from US. India selected 50 commodities out of that. Out of 350, around 50 commodities was listed by India, including bikes and automobile. And India said we are medical equipments. And India said we are going to put heavy taxes over you. So we started to put taxes over them as well. But we did it selectively. We did not do it against anybody else. We selectively did it against USA. From there started the bad blood between India and USA. So at that time only, Mr. Trump was there. So at that time only, Trump got very angry and he said that I don't want to sign any deal with India. That was one of the reasons. So you will see that it becomes next to impossible. Harley Davidson price, actually, see, your friend knows it. Harley Davidson price doubled because India deliberately doubled it because Mr. Donald Trump, he loves Harley Davidson. And he had, and this is true. He specially called our Prime Minister saying that please reduce the taxes on Harley Davidson. Prime Minister said, I will see what I can do. The moment the phone was kept, taxes were doubled on Harley Davidson. Why? Because they were punishing us by putting taxes on steel. They hurt us. So it says, okay. So this was actually what happened. Now, something really bad happened from there, which we should know as a student of UPSC. So what bad happened from that time is India and US were about to sign a trade deal. But that trade deal got called off. So Mr. Donald Trump, actually, he wanted to sign a trade deal. He was very active about it. But then he realized that India is not cooperating. India is neither becoming active partner in currency war, and India is punishing US also. Look at the audacity of India. So a country like China, if they do it, we understand because they are big. India also started to attack USA. It looked as if it's a two-dimensional attack. One from China and one from India. And what did US want? US wanted that US and India should become ally and attack China. Opposite happened. USA got so angry with India that USA said, first of all, I am going to rethink about the trade deal with India. So actually a trade deal was about to be signed, that free trade agreement. So it got completely thrown in the trash. And then all of a sudden they didn't do that because then they'll be exposed. So what did they do? They said, we will not sign free trade agreement because I think time is not right. Instead of that, let us sign a mini trade deal. And I taught you what is the meaning of mini trade deal. Mini trade deal is a precursor. When you are not able to sign any trade deal, you sign a mini trade deal. And when the new government came, so Mr. Joe Biden, what did he do? His office, the first decision of Joe Biden government was, where is the mini trade deal agreement of India? Put it in trash forever. They completely discarded and they said, no deal with India. Why? Because they wanted to do it in stages. They wanted to call off this deal in stages. First, free trade agreement was supposed to be signed, removed, replaced by mini trade deal. New government comes, mini trade deal go on. You will not see any word called mini trade deal between India and US now. It's very difficult. Unless power change happens in USA. Because new power would mean new dynamics. New dynamics would mean that India might use some bargain chip. For example, India might say that, I'm just speculating, it might not be true. India might say that I will help you to rebalance China and I will tone down my affection with Russia a little bit if you sign a trade deal with me. And a trade deal with USA, you have no idea how it is going to be advanced. Why? The moment USA signs a trade deal with India, European Union will be under pressure to sign the trade deal. Because entire European Union looks at what US is doing. So now US will become an ally, indirect ally, and US has to support India in Europe. Because currently Europe does not want to sign any trade deal with India because Europe is getting very close to China. So India wants to counter violence and USA is not happy with the German stance on China. Germany is very close to China in sense of trade deal. And USA says, I don't like that. But Germany is not listening to USA. So India might play this game, geopolitics game. India might tell USA that if you sign a trade deal with me, we can together put pressure over European Union so that they stay away from China. And in return, India might have to do a little bit of favor. For example, one favor which India has already done, which all of us know, is the new defense deal with USA. I don't think it was required. All of a sudden it happened, and it's clearly a geopolitical game India has played. Some exchanges have happened. India agreed to purchase something, USA would have agreed for something else, and 100% it is geopolitics. I don't think that it was a normal trade deal. It was not a normal defense deal because things which look very normal are obviously not very normal in foreign policy. India could have easily purchased that from France. India could have easily purchased that from Russia. What was the need to give money to USA? Because US economy was sinking. US economy got really badly impacted because of these war situations. Now US president also needs to show that some jobs are being created. Our GDP is also doing well. End of year. This is the end of year. And USA follows the system January to December. India follows April to March 31st. This is our financial year. But US follows January to December. So you will see 2-3 things happening in USA around every December. Number one, all of a sudden, randomly you will see that US will increase the interest rate around October to December. Randomly. Without any reason. And the moment interest rate increases in USA, from entire world, dollar flows back. And the moment dollar comes back, USA shows, see, my forex reserves are very high. I am the strongest country in the world. Because at the end of the year, they have to show the accounts. This is one guarantee you will see every year without any exception. So that's number one, right? Number two, you will see that USA would randomly start to sign some trade deal with some countries. This time the trade deal was signed with India, not trade deal, but defense deal. Trade deal would mean so many other goods and services also, but it was only defense equipment. Why was USA in so much of hurry? Because job losses happened there. GDP is down. Inflation is there. They're hiding all these things. So that's the reason that they're doing this, because they also have to show that job creation, etc., is happening. Yes. So this is the one which is happening between Tata's, Airbus and Boeing. So what did I tell you? That many a times these things are done to protect their own economy. So USA is doing it to protect it. What is India doing? India is saying, boss, we will help you sign a trade deal. So my instinct is, I have not read it in newspaper so far, that if there is a change in power in USA, the first thing that you will see in next 6 months is a mini trade deal in some form. Whether it is basic or not, I don't know. But how am I so confident about it? Because the defense deal has already been signed. And it was out of blue. It was not in any context, but it was signed. So I feel that it's a precursor to a mini trade deal which is going to happen. So in UPSC, how many pages have you written on Beggar Thy Neighbor, Bacho? 1 page? Because, yeah, correct. I'll talk about it. Dr. Vivek Debroy, he is no more actually. He is one of the awesome economists. So I was thinking of talking about him when two places during railways, and because he was the one who was talking about railway reforms. And second is GDP. So when I teach you that topic called as GDP growth, etc., there I would have definitely talked about him. So it's there in my mind. He is one of the great economists. So 1 page we have written roughly, and diagram I already gave you. There is no diagram as such for this. The only thing that is there is this part. This is the only diagram you can draw. And the second diagram which you can draw is this. That's it. There is no other diagram. And in what context did I teach you all this? In the context of world trade. This is a part of world trade only. So if UPSC asks you what is the meaning of beggar thy neighbor, etc., you please write this 1 or 1.5 page dictation, because this question will not be a standalone question. There will be 2 other parts attached to it. So now you remember this? Have you written this with me last class? No? I told you some story related to it. That what does USA do? USA maintains a list of all its trade partners. So today I'm going to dictate this. This is for prelims. Extra point for prelims from current affairs. So please write. USA blacklisted India. Yes. So please write US currency. That's your title. US currency watch list. US currency watch list. Very, very important for prelims. You can write in the bracket prelims. US currency watch list. US currency watch list. Now, since I have to give you dictation on this, so let me speak on this just for 1 minute so that we can write. I'll take the question, but after completing this point, because if 1 or 2 important points slips away from the mind, there will be a problem. And since I don't carry any notes to see and dictate, so everything is here, it has to be different. Now see this. So there is something called as US currency watch list. What is USA doing there? USA is acting like a dad of the world, right? So very good morning, SS. So USA is acting like the dad of the world. USA says that I will watch you. Why does USA need to watch us? Because we are using the US currency as a global currency called as dollars. So USA says I'm interested in watching you. The reason being that you are using my dollars. What if you take a lot of dollars from me, and then you start to collect the dollar in your banking system, and all of a sudden one day you throw away the dollars in the global market. It will lead to volatility. Everybody will say, oh, there was no dollar, all of a sudden there is dollar, all of a sudden dollar is gayab, all of a sudden dollar is coming, and volatility is very dangerous. So USA says, I want to watch you and I want to get a feel if somebody is trying to amass or collect a lot of dollars. And if you are collecting, USA says, before it's too late, I will act against you and I will summon you. Because if USA is not acting and suppose somebody is collecting a lot of dollars, it's too late. What will USA do by summoning? So USA says, before it's too late, I will take action against you. So hence I will watch you. Everybody said, whom are you going to watch, USA? USA said, anybody who trades with me. Which means if you become the friends of USA, you are under the US watch list. Which means that being friends of US is very difficult and being enemy of US is next to impossible. So neither you can be friends nor foes. US is a very unique country like India. So USA says, be my friend and I'll put you on the watch list. Friend would mean if you trade with USA. What is the meaning of friendship here? Not defense deal, trade. Which means you are constantly and regular, not once in a while. If somebody buys one helicopter from USA in 50 years, USA says, I'm not even bothered about you. But USA says, if you regularly trade with me, goods, services, investment, goods, services, investment, I'm going to watch you. Now, what is the report where all these things is mentioned under this title? So the name of the report is US Department of Treasury brings this report called a semi-annual report, macroeconomic and foreign exchange policies of major trading partner with USA. This in short is called US currency watch list actually. So please write that under this title, US currency watch list, Department of Treasury, USA publishes a semi-annual report titled Macroeconomic and Foreign Exchange Policies, macroeconomic and foreign exchange policies of major trading partners with USA. SSN, absolutely correct. So the name of the report is Macroeconomic and Foreign Exchange Policies of Major Trading Partners with USA. Please put a full stop and please write, under this report, USA makes two important observations. वैसे तो there are 4 observations बच्चों, but for UPSC I think 2 is fine. USA makes two important observations. Number 1, see बच्चों, what is written? First one, have a look at the board please. देखिए, it says policies of trade partners in the last 4 quarters. You know what they observe? 4 quarters would be in 1 year. So they are going to observe, I'll tell you what, I'll keep it very simple with you. So this is USA, please wait for the dictations. This is India. So what does USA say? Look at USA. Look how their mind runs in that direction. So USA says, if you are my friend, I will observe you in last 12 months and I would like to see whether you have exported more or whether you have imported more. Simple, done. So what are the things that you can export? So things that you can export from here is goods, services or investment. Investment means currency. Or what are the things that you get from another country? We have seen in trade, goods, services and investment. So USA said, I'm just going to list down what you have sent to us and what USA has sent to you in last 12 months. That's the first thing. Then USA says, point number 2, look how easy it will become. Now USA says, point number 2, I actually want to find out, I'm USA, I want to find out if your export is greater than import. And if your so if you take this on left side, export minus import. So export minus import, what is it called as? Trade balance. So USA says, if your export is very, very high, look at the length of the arrow, very, very high. And what is your import? The thing that you are buying from USA. You are buying this much from USA, you are selling this much to USA. So if you sell more, if you buy less, that means you are getting more dollars because you are selling no, so you will get dollars. So that means whenever trade balance is positive, USA says, I want to know why trade balance is positive in your country with me. Are you exporting more because of devaluation? That's what USA wants to know. So first USA says, I will watch you that in last 12 months, how much have you exported, how much have you imported? Second point, USA says, I want to find out, second thing, that is your export too much high compared to import? Is your trade balance very, very positive, more than $15 billion? If your trade balance is very high with USA, that means you are exporting more. And if you are exporting more, you must be collecting a lot of dollars. You must be collecting a lot of dollars in your economy. And you must be keeping it with RBI. So tomorrow, if you release this entire dollar, all of a sudden, there will be fluctuation. It will damage my economy. So USA says, if you are collecting a lot of dollar, I want to know whether you have collected this in the normal course of business or whether you have followed devaluation policies deliberately to increase the export. That's what we want to find out. So they put India in the currency list because India is trading with them, and they said, India, I want to examine two things, and they examined us basically. And then they put us in the currency watch list and they said, India, your export with USA has increased and we feel threatened because of you. It looks as if you are doing devaluation, somewhere you are manipulating your currency. To that question, no, which USA raised against us, we created a concept called as, I told you that concept. Remember the wrestlers I showed you? Dollar index. So our finance minister, I told you, she used the concept of dollar index in the parliament and she said, US, let's have a discussion. So I will take you there. First we'll write this. So draw this diagram, please. Simple, USA, India, you write export here, import here, and then you write trade balance. Definitely CP, I will answer it towards the end for sure. In fact, you will get your answers automatically. But pehle, you draw all this. And guys, there is one thing, I am deliberately not increasing my speed because you are studying, most of you are studying economics for the first time. And even if you are studying economics for the 10th time, but you are studying it like this for the first time. And it's a technical subject. These days, the questions, the level of question in UPSC related to especially economics, etc., is not superficial. It goes slightly deep. So for that, if we rush, for me, it would be easy to give a speech in 15 minutes, entire topic over. But then in the exam, it will make us suffer. We don't want that. Results are important. Class should not be completed for the sake of it. So for results, we will maintain our pace at a certain level and we'll go by that. If you already know these things, great. Revision for you because a test is coming up. And if you don't know these things, great chance to learn. So, Ton, wonderful. Let's go back and let's write. So first thing, I told you, there are two things which are examined. First, please write policies of trade partners in last 4 quarters. Policies of trade partners in last 4 quarters. Policies of trade partners in last 4 quarters. And number 2, US, number 2, please write, US examines if the trade partner, US examines if the trade partner has a trade surplus, of greater than $15 billion. Greater than $15 billion. With USA. With USA. If this condition is satisfied, in the second point itself, continue writing, bachcho. If this condition is satisfied, USA puts that trade partner in the currency watch list. Now please write dollar index. Give a title, please. I'll tell you how India came out of the currency watch list. India is also smart. We did not leave USA. Where is that picture? Yeah, that's the picture. Please write dollar index. Oh, I have explained. Very nice. Ketan, you saw it already. So please write dollar index. Acha, what will happen if USA observes that you have devalued your currency? US will put a ban over you. USA will say that I'm not going to trade with you because you are artificially changing your currency, and USA will file a case in WTO that India has deliberately done this to hurt me. And who is the boss of WTO? USA. So USA says, I will file a case against you so that WTO can listen to the case, and then USA goes to WTO, sits on the chair and says, I'm going to listen a case which I have filed against you. Because I am the judge, I am the jury, I am the victim, I am everything. Right? Amazing kind of country. So please come back here. So what did India do? How did India respond? India used the concept called as dollar index. I'm going to tell you what exactly dollar index. This picture I showed you last time. Achha, I have a habit. Whenever I teach something very technical, mostly in these kind of classes, what I do is, on the first occasion when I introduce the concept, I use pictures. But when we repeat the same concept, then we don't use them, because this won't help us in exam. This is good to understand, but not for exam. For exam, we have something else which I'm going to show you. But pehle, just 30 seconds discussion of this. What is the meaning of dollar index? See, so this is India, this is Indian rupee, and this is US dollar. So USA has been blaming India that India, your trade surplus with US is there. You are exporting more. Your export is very, very high because you have devalued your currency. So your currency looks weaker, and this is our dollar. So USA blamed India and said, you have done this. India said, no, you can't blame us for this. The reason being, if there is a gap between rupee and dollar like this is the gap. If this is the gap, you can blame us that we played the game. But if the same gap exists between every other currency in the world and US, then you can't blame us. Because everybody in the world is not against you. Don't be under the delusion that everybody is conspiring against me. Because if every currency in the world looks smaller in compared to you, that means the problem is not other currencies, problem is you. So now India started to prove it. India said, let's go to Europe and let's check that what is the value of euro against dollars. When USA started to blame us, around let's say 2018, it started to blame us and put in the currency watch list. Immediately in 2018 and 19, this exercise was done by India, and India said, let us check what is the gap between, see that's dollar. What is the gap between dollar and this euro? We found exactly same gap. Then we checked the gap between dollar and Canadian currency, Swiss, British, Japanese. Every currency we found a gap. And what did we do? We took average of all this gap. And the average was, let's say, this is a true figure, average is 4.3% gap. And with India, the gap was roughly around 4.1%. India said, there you go. The gap between dollar and rupee was roughly around 4.1%, whereas the average gap between all the currencies of the world, this is the average, 4.3%. And dollar is this. So India said, how are you saying that we have manipulated? That means everybody else has manipulated. So let's do one thing, USA. Let's punish everyone. What did USA do? I promise you, USA has done that. Immediately next year, USA took India out, and USA said, India is a great ally. And India's behavior in the past has been really good. So we are taking India out of the currency watch list. Welcome back India to normal phase. Why? Because we pointed out a finger and we said, problem is in you, not in India. This is normal part. Everybody understood this part. Let's become technical. Because in UPSC, if they ask you what is dollar index, you will have to write the technical points. So why did India take the help of these currencies? Because these are the globally used common currencies. Mostly across the world, these are the currencies which are understood by everyone, valued, and these are also the currencies in which US is interested, because these are all the allies of USA. They trade with USA a lot. So we selected all the countries, all the regions of the world with which US has good relations. We said these countries are the countries with which US have good relation. Even there you find that your dollar is stronger and they are weaker. So don't blame us. So let's see. What is actually the watch list? I have taken an example. The year 2022 versus 2023. Look carefully, bacho, because this is the technical part. Now, what did India do? India took a big basket like this. I said, this circle is a basket. So what did India do? India took a basket and India said, now that's my basket. In this basket, India started to put all the currencies, important currencies of the world. So for example, see, so we put a euro, Swiss currency, French currency, Japanese currency, Canadian dollar and pound sterling, British currency. We put 6 currencies in the world. Why 6 currencies? Because USA has very good trade relations with these 6 countries in the world where these 6 currencies are used. Then India said that let's do something. Let's take $1 here, right? And then India said that if somebody wants to buy this dollar, how much of this basket is required? So what did India do? India took this basket and India filled this basket with currency. Lot of currency, basket filled, these currencies. And India then started to ask a question that we want to know, that if somebody wants to buy $1, somebody wants to buy $1, how much of this basket is required? So answer is 1 basket. So if you just give 1 basket, you will get $1. Simple. Then India asked a question that, okay, this is 2022. Let's go in 2023. Let's go in the world market and try to find out $1. So now in the world market, if you go to currency dealers across the world, and if you tell them, hey currency dealer, can you give $1? They will say, yes sir, we can give you $1. But if you give 3 baskets, like this 3 baskets. So now in the world, you have to give 3 baskets to get this $1. Immediately India pointed this out to USA and India said, USA, now you tell whose value has increased, whose value has decreased. Dollar is very strong because 3 such baskets are required to get $1, which means the value of this basket is down. That's why 3 baskets are required. Dollar is very strong. Just for $1, you need 3 baskets. So India started to say that this basket is called as dollar index. And India proved that these are some of the important currencies, US, with which you trade. So India put that in the basket and India said, see what has happened. $1 was 1 basket. Now the value of dollar has increased, which means we can safely say, we are not using the word appreciation, depreciation. We'll safely say dollar has become stronger compared to this entire basket. So dollar index has increased. USA said it does not prove anything. India said, hold on, sir. We'll prove it. Now $1 was 80 rupees. 2022. 2023, $1, 85 rupees. So dollar has become stronger again, rupee also. It's visible. Earlier $1, 80 rupees. Now for $1, you need 85 rupees. Dollar is stronger, rupee is weaker. So India said that let us calculate the percentage change. From 80, it became 85. So absolute amount 5 rupees increase. India calculated the percentage change. And when India calculated this basket ka percentage change, these 2 percentage changes were similar. So example, $1 is equal to 80 rupees, $1 is equal to 85 rupees. Example, suppose this was 4.1% for India. When we calculated this, that what is the jump, we saw that this change was also in the range of 4 to 4.5%. So we said that dollar is becoming stronger compared to this entire basket. Something becomes stronger. So whenever you say something has become stronger, that means in percentage term only, no, we'll talk about how strong you are. So earlier you were getting 90% in the test. Now you're getting 95%. There is a 5% jump. So similarly, you are saying dollar is stronger by what percentage? Roughly 4 to 4.5%. Similarly, dollar is stronger compared to rupee by 4.1%. India immediately equated these two and India said, so where is the problem? Problem is in rupee, problem is in these currencies, or problem is in dollar? India counter-attacked USA and India said, USA, it looks as if you have done something to your currency. Why do I get a feeling, USA? This was India's official stand. That why does it look, USA, that maybe you have changed your currency in such a way that dollar has appreciated. Maybe you have deliberately done that. Immediately India out of currency watch list. And after that, there has been no discussion about India manipulating anything. Because when you put your hand in the wrong nerve, there is a problem. Because if they try to explain, they will be caught. And I told you, what does USA do every year? Every year, this is the trend of USA. Around October to December, they deliberately interfere by changing the currency status, by changing interest rate. So if you put your hand over USA, immediately US will be exposed. So what did USA do? USA said, no, India, you are out. Please don't discuss. Similar thing was done by USA. I taught you one of the lectures that USA has been blaming India for other things also related to trade barrier, tariff barrier, etc., etc. So immediately India started to say that you are the one who started trade war. Immediately USA started to tell India that no, India, you are not a participant in trade war, you are a good country. So the moment you counterattack a country like USA, because it is entangled in so many places, it does not want any 1 point extra because it will have to give a lot of explanation for these things. For mangoes, yes, I gave you that example. India is exporting mangoes. So this is called as dollar index, which India used. This concept has been used by India to refute the US arguments. And India has come out clean that we have not manipulated anything. So India is not called as the manipulator in the world. So nobody has blamed India by saying that you manipulate currency. They always say that India manages currency whenever required, but India never manipulates. So please write. No problem. So please write under dollar index, but you watch the video, huh? Okay. Under dollar index. Yes, please write under dollar index. Six global currencies are taken as a basket of currency, and their value is compared against dollar. Please put a full stop. Example, between 2018 and 2022, there was an allegation against India about devaluation of rupee. India had used this concept to prove that dollar had become stronger not only against rupee, but also the basket of six currencies. In other words, dollar index is an instrument. Used to find the value or strength of dollar, or strength of dollar against a basket of six commonly used currencies in the world. Bacho, don't you find these concepts to be really interesting? That the war between India and other countries, like USA was putting allegation, so India did not abuse USA. That I will show you who I am, one day you meet me outside, you don't know my uncle is this. Yes, India does not do all that there, right? What does India do at that time? Pankaj, right? So what does India do at that time? India says, let us refute one concept by another concept. That is how intellectual fight takes place. And if you fight intellectually at the global level in these kind of things, 99% of the time you will win this. In your handout, I'll provide you the list of the 6 currencies. I don't want to waste your time. So what I'll do is I'll put all these list of currencies, etc. in the dollar index in your handout itself so that you can easily memorize this. For prelims, you have to memorize. But for mains, the dictation which I gave you has to be written. For prelims, you have to memorize the list. That list I'll provide you in the handout itself. Let's save some time so that I can bring extra examples in the class. So for that, I am not dictating you this list unnecessarily. Now come back, please. Ye dekhiye. This is the sheet which you have to do. Now, I have something in mind. This thing I'm going to do with you guys. So, yes. So, what I'll do with you is, Abhi will practice this in the class, but I'm also going to give you this side of the diagram, in your handout. I'll attach this so that in future, whenever you are revising this chapter, you should also practice it from your side. I'll attach a blank sheet like this. And whatever you have to write, you should practice it here by writing the things in future whenever you are revising the concepts. In the class, I'll give you full dictation of this entire thing, everything to be dictated in the class. But in your handout, I will attach this sheet as I told you, call it a worksheet. So, or some sort of a practice sheet, because I feel these things are important, it helps. So when you get this, in future when you revise, or let's say after a week you revise before the test. So I'll announce a test date for you once I complete this topic, inflation and balance of payment combined. So in that test, because balance of payment say questions are asked in mains also. So I will give you mains related question from balance of payment, and from inflation. This year they have started the trend of asking mains question. So which means that test needs to have both prelims and mains kind of. Earlier I was thinking only prelims for inflation, but they changed the trend. So now this year you will practice also mains related question from inflation. So that's why I keep telling you that your syllabus has actually increased a little bit. So that combined test will happen. So this kind of sheets I might give you in the class in the test, and I might give you this big sheet and I'll tell you fill it up. So be ready with these kind of things. So don't note it down, because I'll give you dictation and this sheet will be there in your handout. Let me explain what this sheet is. Now look carefully. And the method of explanation, I'm going to follow this only. You will have to answer. I will just give you the situation. I don't have a 40 rupees note, so I'll have to use this only. I also don't have a dollar because I have been blacklisted by USA. So, so now, okay, see this guys. So there is something called depreciation or devaluation. I'm going to explain to you how it works. Look carefully, because everything has to be filled by you and I'll ask you questions. And whomsoever I point, that person has to respond. So, you see $1 is equal to 40 rupees. That's your equation. $1 is equal to 40 rupees. All right, please participate. Now, what am I telling you? I told you that depreciation has happened, which means now if you need $1, you can't get it in 40 rupees. Now you have to give 80 rupees from your pocket to get this. So, from $1 40 rupees, it has become $1 80 rupees. That's the new scenario. Now, I want to ask you your first question. What do you think is the reason that this has happened? Earlier, no. Look carefully, bacho. Earlier, what used to happen was 40 rupees, $1. But all of a sudden, you see that now what has happened, now there are two pieces of papers. Now $1 is equal to this. So first, can you please tell me, no, the question is, what will happen to the rupee supply that will lead to this? So what do you think has happened to the supply of rupee that this situation happened? Supply of rupee increased or decreased? Supply of rupee. Now let me show you again. This answer has to come from you and everybody has to give the right. Earlier this was the condition. Rupee, dollar. But now, rupee, dollar. So supply of rupee has increased or decreased? Increased. Brilliant. So if somebody will ask you, what is the reason for depreciation or what is the reason for devaluation? Increase in supply of currency. Increase in supply of domestic currency. You see, two currencies. Is there a problem? No, two currencies. Earlier, to my online students, guys, see. $1, 1 rupee. $1.40, $1.40, huh? But now I am RBI, Reserve Bank of India. I printed more currency and released it. So you see two pieces of papers now. Dollar is same, but I printed more currency. What has happened? Depreciation of rupee. So what is the first cause of depreciation or devaluation? Depreciation or devaluation can happen because of increase in supply of rupee. This would be the first. I'll dictate this in a different way, don't worry. Now, what has happened to the demand of rupee? Now see, focus here guys. Absolutely, focus here. So earlier what was happening? Absolutely correct. But then I have to teach it in a slightly different way. So earlier what was happening? This was the rupee, this was the dollar. But all of a sudden, this is the rupee, this is the dollar, and nobody is taking it. It's there, moving in the economy, and everybody say, I don't care. So this is dollar and this is rupee. So what has happened to the demand of rupee? Gone up or gone down?
Gone down.
Gone down. If it would have gone up, you will never see these 2 rupees floating in the economy. Somebody will take it. But the very fact that you see this in the economy, nobody is interested. So this is the second reason. So whenever the demand of domestic currency goes down, you will see it will float around the economy like this. And this will reduce its value. Any problem? Any problem? To my online students, issues? Awesome. The third one, supply of dollars. No. See this. Look carefully. Because without picture, next to impossible to understand. 40 rupees, $1. Normal? $1 or half dollar? Half dollar. So now half dollar is equal to 40 rupees, which would mean $1 would be equal to 80 rupees. So what have I done now? The dollar has, supply of dollar has gone up or down? Down. Down. So sometimes when the supply of dollar is low, like $1 became half. See, pehle $1 was equal to 40 rupees. Now I'm playing with, first I played with rupee, now I'm playing with dollar. So now the supply of dollar is half, but rupee is same. So in this case also, whose value has increased? Dollar. Whose value has come down? Rupee. So when will you observe that the value of rupee is down, value of dollar is high? When supply of dollar goes down, which means supply of dollar is down. Now, why would the supply of dollar in India go down? Is it possible that somebody in a foreign country is demanding the dollar and taking it back? Yes. I told you what happens between October and December. Rate of interest in USA? Up. So in India, earlier, this was the rupee, this was the dollar. But now in USA, rate of interest is high, significantly high, very, very high. All of a sudden from India, half of the dollar goes away. Right? So when half of the dollar goes away, that means huge demand is there in USA. So your demand is very high. And similarly, why can supply of dollar go down? Supply of dollar also can go down because US stops printing the dollars. USA can say, I'm not interested in printing the dollar. Finished. Or RBI can say that whatever dollar is there in the Indian economy, I'm going to capture it and I will not release it. Then also in the economy, supply of dollar will be down. So what are we observing? We are observing 1, 2, 3, 4. First we played with rupee and we showed that when $1 is equal to 40 rupees, if you disturb rupee, and how will you disturb rupee? Only in 2 ways, demand and supply. How did you disturb rupee? You disturb rupee by unnecessarily increasing the supply. See, size has increased. So whenever this happens, there is a big chance that it will disturb the value of rupee. Value of rupee will go down. Similarly, all of a sudden what happens is, here people were using rupee, but now people are saying, no, I don't need rupee. There is too much of rupee all around us. RBI has printed so much of currency and distributed everyone 15 lakh rupees. Since everybody has 15 lakh rupees in the account, people say, now I don't need it. Because when you get something, you lose the value of it. So when you are away from your parents, you start to love your parents more. You feel their absence and you say, no, I want to go home. But when you are with your parents, what do? Sometimes you argue with them also, that I am a grown-up person now. Don't teach me. But when you are away from the parents, you in fact wait for them so that they should teach you something. And you wait for that phone call, one phone call. See, you will get 20 phone calls whole day. Right? Emotional phone call included. But you will wait for your parents' phone call, because without that, your day will not be complete. Because you are not with them currently. So, when people start to lose value, that no, I don't need rupee, so demand goes down. Usi tarah se you play with dollar. You understood this concept. I don't need to waste your time on this now. These are the causes. I'll dictate this. So if UPSC will ask you, listen to it very carefully, bacho. You are my smart kids. You have to become a champ in this. So if somebody will ask you $1 is equal to 40 rupees, it has become $1 is equal to 80 rupees. Why? So smile and tell them that it can happen because of two reasons. Either something has changed in rupee or something has changed in dollar. That's it. There is no third reason. These two only. So what will happen to rupee? Rupee is losing value. When something loses value, when its supply is high, demand is less. Ye dekh lo, supply high, demand less. And when does something become very strong in life? When its supply is less, demand is more. Supply is less, demand is more. You need to practice this. Because if you ask me and tell me that you have not understood, example, वैसे तो nobody has so far. Because if you do, then I'll tell you to do only one thing. I'll tell you to rewatch it, because we can't go more basic than it is not possible, humanly not possible. Iske niche, where will you go? So yes, this is the most basic at which we can operate. And if you have not understood this, that would simply mean that you need to imagine. Imagine that if you have too much of currency in your pocket, too much of rupee, you will not value it. So increase in supply of rupee, you will not value. Okay? This is the part. Now, what is the impact? This though you will tell me. I'm not going to even speak on this. You are a champ in this. I know you will tell the right answer. So wait. Who will tell me the answer? Your friend has come in the class after very long. No. Your friend has come in the class after very long. A question to your friend. Then I'll come online. So please answer, because I've taught you this today also, that whenever the value of rupee goes down, depreciation and devaluation, what happens to export? Goes up or down? We have seen it today. Value of export will increase. So we'll write increase. Very nice. And what happens to import? I told you the jugaad. One is going up, other will go down. Absolutely, go down. What will happen to inflation? Let me show you inflation. Up though you are champs, obviously you will give the right answer. So now your $1 is this two currencies. Rupee, see, so much of rupee and $1. What is this called as? Inflation. Too much of currency in the economy. So during depreciation, the tendency of the price is increase, inflation. Why? Because there is too much of rupee. So that's why there will be inflation. And in general, what will happen to balance of payment? Positive, in general. And is India also getting to that scenario where balance of payment is slowly becoming better? Yes. That's why I taught you J-curve effect in such great details. Because in UPSC, if they ask you that when this phenomenon of depreciation happens, what is the impact on balance of payment, export minus import? The impact is positive. That it improves. So the right word here is it improves. In India also, it is trying to become that only. Now, if somebody will ask you that, what is the solution? I'll tell you. See how intelligent answers will be given by you. Abhi, I'll demonstrate that you are actually capable of giving super intelligent answer. You just need one hint. The hint is this. Suppose that in the classroom you feel that the temperature is too low, 16 degrees. So how will you make yourself comfortable in the class? By jumping out of the window? Or throwing your teacher out of the window? Some people are imagining that also. I will throw you out. Right? What will you do? Change the increase. Your friend Manu is saying, sir, simple. Increase the temperature. Why to throw anybody out? Right? We can throw you out after you complete the syllabus, sir. That's what Manu is saying. So, till the time I complete your syllabus, you will increase the temperature. Acha, wait, what did you say? Low temperature creates problem. Do the opposite. Oh, let's come back here. So, what have we said? During depreciation, what has happened? During depreciation, too much of rupee. Too much of rupee. How do you control too much of rupee? Absorb it. Brilliant answer. So what will RBI do? Sell bonds and collect the rupee. Superb. RBI sells bonds. There is another jugaad. Look at this and please answer. This is normal, this is depreciation. What else will RBI sell? Absolutely. Forex, dollars. So what will RBI do? RBI will call SBI and SDFC. And RBI will say, hello SDFC, hello SBI. Do you have rupee? Obviously they have rupee. So RBI tells them that send your rupee, I will send dollars to you. So in the economy, what will RBI do? Artificially, RBI will release dollars and collect rupee by talking to banks. So this is also done. Right, so RBI sells dollars. And I told you the method of selling dollar. Call the banks and tell them, put dollar in your account and give me rupee. And why does RBI do that? To create a balance so that from this box, we reach back this box. Okay, that's second. Third, this is the situation under depreciation or devaluation. We don't like this situation because it is impacting us negatively. We want to go back. So what will you do? How will you maintain that there is a balance between these two? Will you increase foreign investment or reduce foreign investment in India? Will you bring more foreign investment or will you stop foreign investment? Bring more, which means this will increase. And then there will be a balance. How do you bring more foreign investment? I have taught you in trade, two methods. First is FPI, foreign portfolio investment, and second is foreign direct investment. Brilliant. Because I am yet to teach you foreign investment. So one day I will teach you foreign investment in great details. I have planned 2 lectures on that, 2 or 3. So we'll see. So, but you know the basics. So which means what are we going to write here? Foreign investment should increase. Now have a look at the board and see what you have just done. You have just completed a very big topic. Normally, if you study it in paragraphs or in the form of a story, disaster. Because after every line, the confusion will be what next to write. And it does not give a picture. If you start converting it into paragraphs, complete disaster will happen. So the best way to understand these kind of chapters is create a chart, leave it blank. Create these circles, play with the circle, and then try to see what happens. So for example, let's take the last point, foreign investment. Suppose UPSC has asked you a question in prelims. Let's play with this idea, just one time. UPSC will tell you, currently, look at this please. UPSC tells you, currently, rupee is under depreciation. That means there is too much of rupee and there is very less dollars. So what is the meaning of depreciation? Dekho, how will you play around with this idea? So depreciation is, guys, focus. Depreciation means there is $1, there is too much of rupee. Now you want to correct this using foreign investment. Just using foreign investment. So what will you do so that this unnecessary thing which is there in your hand, it is balanced out with dollars? What do you need now? You need more dollar, you need more rupee to balance. More dollars. Because you already have 2 rupee. This is huge. This is not balanced. This is bad balance. So what do you need? More dollars? Okay. Invite foreign investment. Now here's your dollar has increased. At least some balance is there. So if somebody will ask you, how will you use foreign investment to correct the depreciation of rupee? You should say, we will increase the foreign investment. FDI and FII, simple, done. So this is how we do it. Now let's do the opposite case and then I'll give you a combined dictation. Most welcome. So combined dictation, but before that, this part. Both. Till, dekho, abhi I have not taught you foreign investment. So if I take you to the debate of FI, FDI or FPI, it will become next to impossible to understand. So India will focus on both FPI and FDI for now. But when I teach you that topic, you will see the precise answer. But for now, both. Okay. Acha, वैसे बच्चों, I want to tell you one thing. How many types of friends do we have? 2 types of friends. One whom we talk to every day, like how are you doing, etc. One are special friends. We talk occasionally. Like we'll talk on birthdays, Happy New Year type of thing. Why? Because those are the friends who truly understand us, because if you wish them just once a year on January 1st and you tell them, hello friend, how are you doing? Your friend will start the conversation exactly at the point where they left last year without complaining. There are such kind of people on this planet, I'm telling you this. They will never complain. You are also maybe one of them. You never complain. So there are such friends in life. But if they sense that there is some problem in your voice, even if you are speaking to them after 6 months, if they sense there is a problem, they will definitely tell you that, hey, your voice sounds a little different. And then all of a sudden you realize, wow, this person is so sensitive. I was wasting my time with somebody wrong. I mean, right. So this also happens in life, right? So there are two types of friends. One whom you speak with every day, almost every day. One is occasional friends. Those who are occasional, no, they are more invested in you because they really feel that, your well-being is important. That's why they don't complain. But those who meet every day, if you ask them that today I don't want to talk, that person will tell you, come on, you can study later on, at least half an hour, let's talk, let's go and watch this movie. They are only about fun, picnic, fun, etc. But some people mean business. They will say that, no, your UPSC is more important. So foreign portfolio investment is like everyday friend who will come to your life, they will come, they will bring the money, and one day they will, all of a sudden tomorrow they will leave. They are not here to establish any factories. But FDI is like that permanent friend who says, hey, if I'm FDI, I will establish a factory in your country. So FDI is like that permanent friend. But these things I will teach in foreign investment. Otherwise, I will divert and digress. I don't want that. Come back, please. So here's it is for you. Now, this is a chart which is appreciation and revaluation. What is the meaning of appreciation? The opposite of depreciation is appreciation, and the opposite of devaluation is revaluation. Now, what is the meaning of depreciation? Through gestures, see this please. And this chart you have to fill in front of me. You will give the answer, I will write it, see. So now, $1 is equal to 80 rupees. 40, 80 rupees, huh? But now what happens is, all of a sudden India becomes a very important country in the world and everybody starts to say, India, you are the best. So India's attitude also changes. They say, I am the best. Oh, cool. So then India says that now 40 rupees will be equal to $1. What have we just done? RBI has reduced the supply of currency. RBI says, let me collect some currency in my pocket, and RBI says, I will show my attitude. Now I am important. So when you are important, what do? You don't go to that place every day. To some parties, you reach little late. To some parties, you don't even go. You will go once a year. So RBI says, now I am more important. So let me take out some currency. Now our rupee looks all of a sudden very important. Because now 40 rupees is equal to $1. That's called appreciation. Or that is also called as revaluation. If RBI does it deliberately, it is called revaluation. If it happens because of market forces or demand and supply, it is called appreciation. Now let us do this. I think I should explain this first to you using one more example. Did we do that last day? Appreciation wala example. Have we done it? No. Look at the board. Then we will fill that chart. Look at the board. Try to understand. Guys, I'm not going to teach this immediately. Even if it means wastage of time, no problem. It is not wastage, it is investment. So I'm waiting for 5 minutes. Have a look at the board. Try to interpret. Then I will explain. Have a look at it. Because one day you will have to do all this on your own. Do this, please. That's normal. $1 is equal to 80 rupees. Normal. And what is the price of this pen in India? 40. So if somebody brings $1, how many pens will they get? 2. Now let's see what happens in appreciation. Check. Take 5 minutes and silently observe. This box is appreciation box. What has happened in appreciation? Export has decreased. And I told you what will happen to import? Absolutely, Ketan, correct. So see what is happening here. Look carefully, bacho. This is so easy that earlier the value of $1, 80 rupees. Condition not very good. And plus the price of each pen same. I am taking the same example so that it's easy. So 40 rupees each pen. If somebody sends $1 to us, price of $1 is equal to 80 rupees. So how many pens are we going to send to that person? 2 pens. because $1 is equal to 80 rupees. So 1 pen is 40. So we will send 2 pens. Simple. Because somebody is sending us $1, we'll say, chalo, take this pen. Take this pen also. And what do we get in return? In India, we get $1. And $1 is equal to 40 plus 40, 80. Equation solved. Let's come here. What has happened now? Appreciation has happened. Why? India's bhav has increased. Attitude has changed. So now India says, I'm very important. So $1 is equal to 40 rupees. Now the same person from USA sends $1 and says, can I have my 2 pens? India says 2 pen. Why? $1 is equal to 40 rupees. So sorry, my friend, you are going to get only 1 pen. And in return, India will get $1. That's it. All okay? Where is the problem? You explain, I'll improve. So you explain to me what has happened. Chalo, explain. Where did you get stuck? You got stuck in import. Do the opposite. If you follow that method which I told you, like for depreciation, I taught you export and import both. Remember, I taught you for import also in depreciation. But before that, when I taught you depreciation, what did I tell you? That in depreciation, we learned this concept of export, that what happens on the export. Then I gave you a formula. I said that whatever is happening here in depreciation to export, its opposite will happen in import. Remember, I told you that whatever is happening to export in depreciation, do the opposite. That will be true for import. And then I explained to you this example that in depreciation, this will happen. If you follow the same method in appreciation, so let's do it. So for example, let's say this is appreciation. In appreciation, what did I tell you? Absolutely correct. So you have used a very nice word, good. In appreciation, what has happened? I showed you through some movements that whenever the value of rupee will go up, it will lead to fall in exports. But then it helps us in imports. How does it help us in import? Very simple. I'll show it to you. So now what has happened is, let's say that there was this pen in USA. Like suppose that now the pen is in USA. What was India doing? Earlier, when $1 is equal to 80 rupees. So what did we used to do? Indians had to give 42 currencies. Like we had to give 2 currencies to a currency dealer to get $1. And in that the person was giving us 1 pen. But now what will happen? We don't need to give 2 currencies. 1 currency will give and say, give the pen. Finished. So because the value of your currency has, think about it. You are an Indian. How many, you are an Indian. How many currencies are you holding? 2, 40. And you want this pen from me. I am a US citizen. So how many rupee notes will you give? 2. But suppose appreciation has happened. How many currencies will you give? 1. That's it. Did you understand this? So I'll tell you the jugaad to understand this concept. If you try to understand this mathematically, I guarantee you that it will take 5 years to understand. Even then there will be confusion. So what I do is, when I was learning this topic as a student, I told you that I shifted from science background to economics. For me, these jugaads were very important. So what did I do? I used to take these kind of papers and I used to say, if I ask my parents that give me 40 rupees note, you know what will happen after that. So they will not let me stay in the house. So what did I do? I used to take these kind of papers. I used to hold it like this. And I used to say that if I have to buy a pen from US, earlier I had to give these 2 currencies. But now my bhav has increased. India has become important, which means I can give just 1 paper and I can take the pen. This is how you find it out. So that's your appreciation. So during appreciation, absolutely correct. During appreciation, what happens? Export goes down. And for exam, what is the jugaad? In exam, will you do this paper shifting and pen exchange? No. In exam, how do you do? In exam, you will say that because of appreciation, our export will go down. And whatever is the impact on export, uska opposite is the impact on import. This is for qualifying the exam. In exam, you can't do research. So that's what we do. So let's come back and let's see the results. This is your result. have a look at the board and please fill it. Please tell me what to fill, and later on we'll have the dictations. What is the meaning of appreciation or revaluation? $1 is equal to 80 rupees. Guys, see this please. $1 is equal to 80 rupees. Now it has become $1 is equal to 40 rupees. Which means if India gives less rupee, then also we will get $1. So what will happen to export? Please complete it. Export will reduce. Which means, and when do things reduce? When they become cheaper or costly? Brilliant. So we will use the word costly, because in prelims I have seen they have asked this question. During appreciation, which of the following is true? Export becomes costly. That's it. They didn't mention that what will happen to export. They said export will become costly. So when things become costly, it reduces. And what will happen to import? Import will becomes cheaper. Right? So these are two things which happens. Can you please tell me what happens to balance of payment? Balance of payment is equal to export minus import. What has happened to export? Reduced, no? Yes. Reduced. Import increases, which means balance of payment becomes negative. Or you can say it declines. Depends. We will say either it is less or it is negative. वो तो it depends on the number, the value. But decline तो is guaranteed it will decline. Whether it will become negative or not, that depends on these two numbers. But 100% it is going to take a hit. Now suppose that initially your export was very high, 100, your import was 10. So your balance of payment was 90. Right? So initially export was with $100 and your import was $10. So balance of payment $90. But what happened because of appreciation? Because of appreciation, your export declined. So from 100, it became 80. And what happened to your import? From 10, it became 20. Which means 80 minus 20, 60. Even now it is positive, but it has declined. So which means that you can say that balance of payment either will decline, or worst case, it might become negative. But safe answer would be balance of payment would decline. Or you can say it takes a negative impact. This is for exam. Now let's fill that sheet. Hold on please. Let's fill that sheet. Take your time. And if you are not able to understand, you can do this thing. Imagine those two pieces of paper, $1. Have a good look at it. In fact, you don't need it. If you look at circles, you will understand. Look at the circles. For appreciation and depreciation, only two things are changed, either rupee or dollar. See? $1 is equal to 80 rupees. Now it has become $1.40. And why has it become like this? Because the size of rupee is down. And the size of dollar, see, it has increased a little bit. See, dollar ka circle has expanded. And what has happened here? Rupee ka circle has contracted. Is it fine? This diagram is fine. To my online students, is this diagram fine? So now please tell me, what are the reasons that could lead to this? So first is, what has happened to rupee supply? Supply of rupee has increased or decreased here? Decreased. In fact, for all this, no, I'm telling you, be confident because you will always give the right answer. So supply of rupee has gone down. Acha, can you please tell me, if supply of rupee is coming down, what do you anticipate, that demand of rupee was very high or low? High. If something is demanded, then only, brilliant answer. If something is demanded, then only its availability becomes low. That means definitely it was demanded. Otherwise, how can the size reduce? Third, what has happened to supply of dollar? You tell me. Increased. Increased. Brilliant. And if something is excessively supplied, what can you imagine about the demand? Demand has gone down. That's why there is too much of dollar. So its demand has gone down. See how beautifully you have answered this. Now, can you please tell me that what is the impact on export? Brilliant. And I told you for exam, jugaad for exam, do the opposite. Done. See, in exam, your reaction time should be 0.1 second. Because in exam, if you try to do a research, I'm telling you, research should be done in PhDs, not in exam. In exam, these jugaads work. So first thing you have to memorize for exam. I'll tell you how I used to memorize. So whenever I used to appear in a normal college exam, I used to memorize like this. Acha, funda is fine. But if they ask me a question that during depreciation, what will happen to export? Increase. So in depreciation, if export increases, this is ulta opposite of depreciation. Obviously, export will fall. Right? And this will be opposite. So it will increase. Chalo, theek hai. Inflation.
Deflation or disinflation.
So tell me something, guys. This was the rupee. Now this is the rupee. This was the rupee initially. Now this is chotu rupee. So what do you feel? Is there inflation or there is no inflation? There is no inflation, which means that inflation will either be very low or there will be no inflation. Now, that's a very strong term, because this inflation will be in the prices will keep coming down. That we don't know, but we can only say that suppose the inflation rate was very high initially. Here inflation is very high. Now it can reduce a little bit. So only thing that we will use is low. So we'll say just low or decrease, you can say. But beyond that, no. What will be the impact on balance of payment? Brilliant. You are not saying negative now, you are saying decline. Because you know that negative might happen, might not happen, but decline to guaranteed will happen. So similarly for inflation, we are saying that it will reduce, it will become low. How low, we have no idea, because numbers are not there. No. Theoretically, we are arguing that too much of rupee was there, inflation, less rupee, low inflation. So similarly, the balance of payment will reduce. Whether it becomes zero or no, we don't know, but it will decline. These are the things. This is generic. Now look at the last part. What is the remedy? Now, bacho, look at this please. You have already reached this place. You want to reverse. You want to go back. So how do you go back? No, Harsh, don't bring J-curve. That was an exceptional case. This is generic. So what will you do? RBI will buy what? RBI will buy bond. If you buy bond, what will happen? Your rupee will increase. Brilliant answer. So RBI buys bonds. What else will RBI buy? RBI will buy dollars, because there is too much of dollars. Brilliant point. What will happen to foreign investment? You want to reduce the foreign investment or increase the foreign investment? Because if you increase foreign investment, dollar will increase, rupee will be less. And when rupee is less, dollar will be more and more. Just for example, see. Oh, you have already reached, for example, you have already reached this situation. Right, this is the situation. You want to reverse. If you bring more dollars, this will be the size of dollars. In fact, this will lead to more appreciation. So what should happen? Any confusion? Any confusion? Confusion? There? Manu, all fine? Wonderful. Who else is there? PM, you are very silent today. All okay? All fine? Good. Rajan, what happened to you? All okay? Cool. So, what do we do here? Foreign investment should reduce. That's your sheet. आप बताओ. Which cash? And where do we go from here to here? How do we reach from here to here? Because we want to reverse. If you want to, see, this is normal. Good. So, how supply and demand? Wait. No, don't bring value judgment. Your friend is bringing a value judgment that, but foreign investment is good for the economy. No problem. Don't bring all those arguments of you. Who told you foreign investment is good for the economy? So, I told you, don't jump the chapters. There will be a problem. Just try to learn the theories first. Because if you bring a lot of value judgments, no, what will happen is exam qualifying will become impossible. In remaining things, we'll become an expert. We'll become an expert in theories and philosophy. Exam reh jayega. Your exam will be left behind. So don't bring all those things. Because I have not taught you foreign investment. How can you bring foreign investment? So just bring this point that how will you reverse from here to here? No value judgments. No jumping the chapters, please. Because then how will I teach you? Because then I'll have to stop this and first teach you foreign investment. Again, I'll have to stop and teach you WTO. Again, I have to stop and teach you IMF. When will I teach this topic then? Don't jump. Strong advice. I asked you a simple question. How do you go from here to here? You go from here to here by increasing the rupee or reducing the rupee? Increasing the rupee. From here to here, increasing the rupee. Nobody will help. From here to here, you have to increase the rupee. If you want to reach from here to here, you will increase the rupee. What will you do? Which circle is bigger, this or this? First or second? First is bigger or second is bigger? First is bigger. And what are we trying to do? From here we have reached here. This is appreciation has already happened, but we want to reverse. So what are we going to do? If you want to reverse, you will expand rupee and reach here, or you will contract rupee and reach here. How will you reach from here to here? Increase the circle, reach, or reduce the circle and stay here? That's rupee. That's rupee. Now you have to reverse. What will you do? Increase the supply of what? Brilliant. Obviously. Don't be confused. Be confident. He was giving the right answer. But I wanted to confuse him. And you know what happened? If you check his BP currently, his heart might be about to burst. He goes so, like, you give right answer most of the time. I have seen you. Very silently, he'll give the right answer. Increase. And if I ask a question, he will be confused and he will start to give wrong answer. You should give these answers because you are very, almost correct. Theoretically, you are correct. It's just that some confidence is missing. Right? Your online friends are enjoying. They are saying, sir, show who that person is. I will never show. But you're right, actually. How do you reach from here to here? You got confused. But you are giving right answer. Yahan se kya karo na? You take this and see. Done, almost similar. Simple. So, your online friend is saying hybrid students know him, sir. Wow, very nice. So, how do you know? Because you never come to class. So, let's go back. Asha, batao, kids, what are we going to do? Shall we? RBI also prints more rupees. Correct. So, you can say that RBI, in today's lecture, because I have not taught you RBI, so we will use very loose sentences. That RBI will print rupee, release it. Essay. These are the loose statements that we will use. When we study the topic called as money creation, credit circulation, printing of currency, then that day I will give you different kind of interpretations. But this interpretation which I am giving you, that RBI prints more currency and releases that, that's not wrong, that's correct. It's just that we can't all of a sudden bring entire banking in today's lecture. So we are just saying that RBI will print currency and release. Take it literally, that RBI will print currency and release. How does RBI print currency? So imagine that there is a white sheet of paper, RBI will print the currency, governor will sign and release it to the economy and say, take it 15 lakh rupees. Something like this. Right? So, 15 lakh is a good number. Now, guys, tell me, how would you like to do this? Shall I give you dictations essay like this, like cause, then impact or remedy? Or do you want to take the dictation in the story form? How do you want to take the dictation? Cause and effect. Because if you take the dictation like this separately for this section, the points will be very clear. If UPSC will simply ask you a question, what are the causes, you can easily write. And if they ask you the bigger thing, then you can write all the sections. So please give a title, depreciation. Manu, Abhi will not reach there. Don't go there. Abhi here. Focus here. So please write depreciation. Please write. Depreciation is the phenomenon. Achha, by the way, whatever I am dictating for depreciation, same applies for devaluation. So wherever you have given the title depreciation, in the bracket, please write devaluation also. Like this, something like this, depreciation or devaluation. We'll start from there. So please write, depreciation is the phenomenon where one currency becomes relatively weaker against another currency. Against another currency. Against another currency. Please write, bacho. Example. Please write. Suppose $1 is equal to 40 rupees. फटाफट please write बच्चों. Suppose $1 is equal to 40 rupees. Keep writing. See this one. $1 is equal to 40 rupees. Now please write. Now the value changes to $1 is equal to 80 rupees. Now the value changes to $1 is equal to 80 rupees. 80 rupees. In this case, rupee has depreciated against dollar. Rupee has depreciated against dollar. Against dollar. Now please give a small title. Reasons or cause of depreciation. Reasons or cause of depreciation. This whole part in a different way. But we'll do it differently this time. This is a, there is one or two type of questions. Yes, I remember. Your online friend also mentioned this. Manas, yeah. So that was very generic, but not this type. Because if you look at the last few years of UPSC question paper, I'll tell you two questions which I found to be very dangerous. One question was, discuss all the components of union budget. And this question was asked in UPSC, where you have to write what are the tax revenue, not tax revenue, expenditure, what is capital, what is every component had to be explained. One more dangerous part was asked in UPSC, discuss the components of balance of payment. And there every word has to be discussed. Similarly, I fear in future there might be a question which says, discuss the meaning, causes, impact and remedy of depreciation. And there you go, there will be a problem because paragraphs won't help. So that dictation which I gave you was very generic, so that if you read it at one go in 1 minute, you will understand. This is a ready-made solution for a big question. So please. So causes mein please see how easy it will be. Number one, please write when. Number one. So we are writing the causes. Bacho, you are smart. You help me please. Abhi thoda my memory is not helping me. You please help. वो देखो सामने what is written. First point. What leads to depreciation? First is increase in what? Supply of rupee. So increase in supply of rupee. So please write increase in money supply. That is supply of rupee. I will teach you money supply later on, but just please write it today. Increase in money supply, that is supply of rupee. Because for us money is rupee, no, that's why. Increase in money supply, that is supply of rupee. Number two, please write. Decline in demand of rupee. Decline in demand of rupee. See how easy? Decline in demand of rupee. Third, please write. Decline in supply of dollars. Decline in supply of dollars. And did you notice that when we wrote decline in supply of dollars, we did not write decline in money supply of dollars? Because you use the word money supply only for rupee, because we are talking from India's perspective. So here we said increase in rupee supply. That means money supply from India's perspective. But when you say that decline in supply of dollars, we don't use the term money supply. US will use the term money supply. Why should India talk about dollars and use the word money supply? For us, money is rupee. So decline in supply of dollars. Last point, fourth, increase in demand of dollars. Fourth point, increase in demand of dollars. Next, please write impact. Impact mein to you are experts now. Please write impact. But see the difference, how your answer will be different from others. Please write, number one, I'll show you. Number one, please write, exports would increase. Exports would increase. Number two, so we're writing the impact. Exports would increase. Number two, imports would decline. Third, inflation would be high. Fourth, BOP improves. BOP improves. In the bracket, please write. But in India, as an exception, due to J-curve effect, BOP might improve in long run. BOP might improve in long run. Did you see the difference, bacho? How your answer will be different from others? So we are not saying India's BOP will not improve. We just said it might take more time because in J curve, no, what happens? BOP takes more time to improve. We have just mentioned a reality by saying it's an exception. It doesn't happen daily. Exception. So now please write remedy. Remedy for depreciation. And are you also realizing if you write answers like this, it does not give headache to the examiner. Point wise, very precise answer. Yeah. Yeah.
When we wrote exposure decrease, we were studying that questions asked like export becomes expensive. From which point of view?
Export will become expensive. So no, here export will not become expensive. Here export will look cheaper from the point of view of USA. Because USA was just a second. This will clarify this. See, what used to happen here. So for example, when US was sending $1, they were able to get only 1 pen. But now $1 is equal to 80. So now for USA will send $1, same dollar. But now they will get 2 pence. So from their perspective, they feel, oh, it's cheaper. So anybody who finds things cheaper, they will say, yeah, send 2 pence. Even if they need only 1 pen, but now they have to send only $1. So they will say, earlier I was sending $1 getting 1 pen. Now I'm sending $1 getting 2 pence. Send 2 pence. From their perspective. Right. Why? Because now they are demanding the same thing. They are sending $1 only, but they are getting more products. And for us also it's good because we will be able to increase the production. So from that perspective, export becomes cheaper. It looks cheaper to them. I remember I told you that it appears cheaper. Nothing has become, not cheaper, etc. Everything is same only. But to them, it looks as if they are getting 1 pen free with 1 pen. So the offer becomes more attractive for them. So if you ask me really what has happened, nothing has happened. Factory is producing same pen, same cost, everything is same. But just that it becomes more attractive, it looks as if with 1 pen you are getting 1 pen free. So let's go back and let us complete this part. Can we say PLI support to India is innovative? Correct, बोल सकते हो. You can say where is the demand of rupee in international trade, because we'll see that. First note it down, please. I'll take the questions later, but first note it down. So what are we writing? Remedies. Please write number 1, first point. RBI sells bonds and absorbs rupee. RBI sells bonds and absorbs rupee. Number 2, RBI can sell dollar and absorb rupee. Third, increase in foreign investment in India. Increase in foreign investment in India might stabilize the falling rupee. Full stop, please. So this is the first dictation. Let's complete the second part, then we'll go deeper into it. Second part, please write appreciation in the bracket revaluation. Appreciation, revaluation. Appreciation, revaluation. Appreciation, revaluation. And what is the jugaad I told you to understand all this? Look at this first picture. $1 is equal to 80 rupees. it has become $1 is equal to 40 rupees. So what has happened? The amount of rupee is less, the amount of dollar is slightly more. This is called appreciation. Whenever your rupee is down, declines, that means what has happened? It has actually appreciated, its value has increased. So if UPSC will ask you that, beta, why does this happen? You simply have to imagine that what will you do with rupee so that the amount of rupee reduces? What will you do with dollar so that the amount of dollar increases? If you are able to answer these two questions, cause is done. And if somebody will ask you what is the remedy, the simple solution is how to find the remedy. To find the remedy, you simply have to do the opposite of what led to this place, which means you have to go back from here to here. How do you go back from here to here? So you see the picture and you see that there is too much of rupee, there is less rupee. How do you go back? Increase the rupee, reach back. Simple. Similarly, how do you go back from here to here? You see less dollar, you see more dollar. You have to go from here to here. How will you reach from here to here? Reduce the foreign investment, reduce the dollar, you will reach back here. So, whatever is in the cause, do the opposite and you will reach the remedy. That is how we'll do it. So, please write. Appreciation is the phenomenon. Appreciation is the phenomenon where the value of a currency gets stronger compared to other currency. Please put a full stop, guys. Example. Suppose $1 is equal to rupees. Suppose $1 is equal to 80 rupees. Now becomes $1 is equal to 40 rupees. Now becomes $1 is equal to 40 rupees. In other words, rupee has appreciated. Rupee has appreciated. Rupee has appreciated. Full stop, please. Now, please write the reasons or cause of appreciation. 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 By the way, do you know how GDP is defined? GDP, GNP, etc. Which means there is a concept called domestic, there is a concept called national, there is a concept called net export, net import, etc., etc. Which means that unless we are thorough with that concept, what is the concept of domestic territory, national territory, boundaries, all these things, embassies, how to treat them. So we'll not use that term. That's the reason that I have reserved that term. For example, you remember that when I taught you trade, I did not use the word currency war. I taught you trade. I taught you that there is a problem, trade barrier, but I didn't bring currency war because it was not possible. So when we completed currency war, then we included both and we called beggar thy neighbor. वैसे ही one day when I teach you GDP, then I'll teach you all the components of GDP, what is GDP actually in great details. Then I will tell you what is the impact of appreciation and depreciation on GDP. Because if I tell you that today, the problem will be that we are not aware of the concept what as domestic and national. Even if you are aware, I'll assume that we are not. So that's the reason I'm not using it. Otherwise, I could have easily used. So, but for today, I will refrain. So, bacho, this answer I need from you. So, we are going to write the cause. Look carefully at the board. I'll tell you a jugaad again for the last time. The jugaad, that how do you write the cause? So, for example, notice carefully. You gave the right answer, you got confused. Now, guys, to my online friends, see this. So, this is the normal rupee. Now, we are saying from here, we have reached here. So, we are asking why. अब देखो, even if you are not applying any logic, just look at the picture and tell me that from here to here, how did you reach? The money supply increased or reduced? Obviously. What happened to dollar? Dollar supply increased or reduced? Increased. Acha, when you understand supply, obviously you understand demand. That why the supply of rupee reduced? Because somebody might have pocketed it, somebody might have demanded rupee. No, I need rupee. So rupee is not available. A lot of people would have taken rupee in the economy and said, put rupee in my pocket. So a lot of people would have said, this is my rupee, I want to keep it in my pocket for some reason. So obviously there will be less rupee available. So which means that demand of rupee is high and supply is low. That is why this situation has happened. So we will write all this. So it's so simple. Whenever in UPSC or when I take a test and if you are confused what to write, simply create an initial scenario. And if the question says appreciation of rupee, then you reduce the size of rupee, increase the size of dollar. And then you play around with the concept. You will never go wrong. But if you adopt this formula directly, you might go wrong. But if you draw this type of circle, that okay, from here we have reached here, I guarantee you will never go wrong unless you deliberately, give wrong answer, saying that I don't want to qualify this year because my friend is joining me next year. That year we will qualify together. If that is your idea, फिर तो I can't do anything. But if your idea is no, I will qualify this year and become a senior of my friend. So this is the best, right? Some people do get emotional. Don't be emotional like this, huh? Don't say all this, that next year my best friend is coming, special friend is coming, we'll qualify together, so I'm sacrificing. Are you sacrificing like that? No, don't do all that. Right? Focus now, please write. Number one. What are the reasons? Number one, Bacho, what will you write? Tell me please, rupee. There is, please write. There is decline in money supply. That is supply of rupee. Correct? Number two, there is increase in rupee demand. Right? And next, there is increase in supply of dollars. And fourth, demand of dollar declines. Demand of dollar declines. Now please write impact of appreciation. Impact of appreciation. Number one, Bacho, we know it, right? Export would decline. Simple things. Export would decline. Absolutely, Harsh. Correct. Very good. Good intelligence. Export would decline. Correct. Number two, import would increase. Third, inflation would be low. How low, we have no idea. But yes, it will be low. And fourth, BOP, balance of payment, would decline. Now please write remedy, means solution. Remedy for appreciation, solution for appreciation. You are smart kids. Have a look at the board again. Let's make your life simple. So, bacho, the jugaad, to my online students, see guys, see, please. What are we doing? This is normal. We are saying from here we have reached here. Now we are saying we have to go back. That's the remedy. You have to go back. How will you go back? By printing more currency. Obviously, you have to go back. So you have to print more currency. So that's the first thing. Second thing, how will you go back? There is too much of dollar. So what should RBI do? RBI should buy the dollar. And there is one more thing. If RBI wants to release rupee, what will RBI do? RBI will buy bonds. That is also one of the jugaads. And since there is too much of dollar, you want to go back. Will you put restriction on foreign investment in India or will you allow foreign investment? Restriction. So you would see that on many occasions, India becomes conservative. And India says, no, I don't want too many foreign currencies, dollars, etc. But what is the first logical explanation? Look at the board, please. There is a reason I am explaining this again. Because I want you to use the pictures to give answers now. Don't use formulas, use pictures. You have to go from here to here. So if you are the RBI governor, how will you help the government of India? By printing more rupee or reducing the printing of rupee from here to here? Printing more rupee. So please write number 1. So what is the remedy? Number 1. Increase the money supply. Increase the money supply. Increase the money supply. That is, print more rupee. And who prints currency? This I'll teach you in banking. RBI will print currency. RBI is the regulator of currency. RBI will print currency. How RBI prints currency, etc., that is in the banking. Number 2, please write. What is the other method? Open market operations. I remember one of your online friend mentioned open market operations long time back, because we have already done that. And I have taught you 2 types of open market operations. One, RBI buys bond, one RBI sells bond. If RBI wants to increase money, rupee, availability of rupee, what will RBI do? Buy bonds. Please write. Number 2, RBI can buy bonds. In the bracket, OMO, open market operation. OMO. Third, yes. Third, you see this, guys? Third, what have you done? There is too much of dollar. RBI wants to reduce this. What will RBI do? Buy the dollar. So please write. RBI can purchase the dollars. But RBI has a rule. When it purchases the dollar, it has to release rupee. So here RBI will purchase the dollar. Dollar will become small. RBI will release rupee. Rupee will become big. So we reverse from here to here automatically. Next point. Absolutely correct. You are smart. One of your friend mentioned a very interesting point. In fact, one of your friend was talking about it some time back also, but one more friend of yours online, he has mentioned a very important point. He says there must be a reason you wrote foreign investment towards the end. Absolutely correct. You are smart kids now, because earlier I thought that you will not catch these points. You are smart. You have got this point now. So because 2 people pointed, one some time back when I said that don't discuss foreign investment currently, one more friend just mentioned very nicely. So there is a reason I wrote this, because no country in the world would like to curb foreign investment, because if you put a control on foreign investment, technology will not come. So this is always the last step. This is not the first step. So for example, have you ever seen somebody going for a surgery? No, first people try through medicines. People try through yoga, meditation, medicine, etc., etc. They try various other things. But when nothing works, then people say, what to do? Surgery. So that's like surgery. This is your surgery, last resort. We never want to do this, because a country like India wants to bring more R&D through investment. But when nothing works, then you have to take this injection, which we might not like, but what to do for the greater good, for example. So that's why, very good point. I mean, amazing. You guys have become so mature. So one of your friend is saying that, oh, sir, there is a reason that you have mentioned this in order. Of course, yes, you are smart, you caught it. Because the first, instinct of RBI is that, oh, my country is facing a situation when rupee is not there, let me print. That's the first instinct. And why will they feel like printing? Because inflation is low. So even if they print rupee, it won't hurt us too much. But till what point will they print rupee? Till the point inflation is around 4%, 4 plus minus 2%. They will maintain that range also. So they will start printing currency, but they have to maintain the inflation till the range 4 plus minus 2. But suppose rupee is not being stable even after that. After printing also rupee not stable. Then RBI will not print currency, because then it will directly impact inflation. Then RBI will say, let me use other things. Because printing currency means bringing something new. Very dangerous. But indulging in buying and selling bonds, you are not bringing anything new. You are just changing, money is changing hands. So obviously, very good idea. I mean, you guys are catching all these points very nicely. When I would have taught you general equilibrium in this, I would have definitely talked about it. But when I saw 2 people mentioning the same point with a lot of pride, I thought that I'll share this, that you are catching these important things. There is always a reason that I mentioned some sequence. There is always a reason. So if something is coming to us, you are my students, you understand this now. So if something is towards the end, that is least important for us. About employment and employment later on, abhi nahi. Because if you bring too many variables, then we won't be able to understand. You wrote it, no? But then I told you something that today I am in mood to tell you one extra concept which I will. And that extra concept is this. Last point. Oh, foreign investment. So please write that the government would restrict foreign investment. The government would restrict foreign investment. Restrict foreign investment. Done? Cool. So, yeah, in fact, the reason that I did not mention that is because how do you change foreign investment? Where are you? Manu, where are you? How do you change foreign investment? With something called as rate of interest. It's embedded. So whenever you say that foreign investment in a free world where India is following, open economy model, etc., can India literally say that I am controlling foreign investment from today? No. You reduce the interest rate, nobody will come. Right? So this is how you play around, general equilibrium. Come back, please. So, Bacho, there is again something which I want to point out. If I am not using a particular point during dictation or something, there is a reason. The reason is that we have not yet reached that point. I'm again telling you, if you jump too much, nothing will happen today. But in examination also same thing will happen. You will jump. You won't be able to answer. I'm telling you this for your own good. Don't jump a lot. Because, for example, I have not taught GDP so far. So if you try to bring GDP on a point, entire definition of GDP is so complex that it takes almost like 5 lectures to understand GDP. At the end of 5 lectures, we'll one day say, now I understand GDP. So that's the reason that I'm not bringing a few points in the class, because when the right time comes, we'll bring it. And about general equilibrium, it cannot be studied in a normal class like this. General equilibrium requires at least 75% of the syllabus to be complete. What is the meaning of general equilibrium? That everything changes in the economy. Now find the impact of everything changing on the demand of pen. So money supply has changed, rupee has changed, dollar has changed, employment has changed, unemployment has changed, Make in India removed, government has changed, India has participated in World War, depreciation has happened. Now tell us what is the impact on this pen. How can we say that impact in 1 minute? The day I am able to predict that, I'll win a Nobel Prize, right? So again, that will come when you wait for at least, let's say, 75 to 80% of the syllabus. But yes, I can give you a hint and a flavor of general equilibrium in today's lecture, little bit. But in great detail, it's not possible. Let me follow a sequence, because if my sequence will be disturbed, then there is one problem which you will face. You will face problems in the exam. Class will become interesting. If my sequence is disturbed, class will become very fancy. You will really start to enjoy the class little more. But then you have no idea what will happen in the exam. Don't change my sequence. Trust me on this. It will create big problems. So now say this is called Forex reserves. Please follow the method which I am following. Because if like 5 times you ask me to change the sequence, one day I will. Uske baad you have no idea what will happen. In fact, you will not be able to answer even my questions in the class. Don't have feel good factor. Focus on the exam. So please write Forex reserves. Please write Forex reserves. So let's see what is the meaning of Forex reserves. And don't study for fun, I'm telling you. This will be very dangerous. Don't study for wow effect. Always study for exam. One thing should be clear in the mind. I have to answer questions in the exam and done. No other agenda. So please write Forex reserves. Ab dekho what is Forex reserves. Before I teach you Forex reserves, I want to ask you a question. And there will be your participation in this. What did I tell you that Bretton Woods conference, what are the 2-3 things that happened? Fatapat, please answer the question, exam perspective. Bretton Woods conference, who will tell me the first thing that happened? So, Pankaj, you tell me. 1 point. Bretton Woods conference, one big decision which was taken. Pankaj, fatapat, quick. Come on, Pankaj, IBRD, good. One decision, your friend has said IBRD. What is another decision taken at Bretton Woods conference? They proposed something else instead of GATT. I told you the name, ITO. You missed my lecture, no? Yes, he missed the lecture. That's why he's not able. See, he did not give the wrong answer, but he gave the answer for a different question, right? This is the problem which will happen. I'm telling you this. Focus on the class, please. So, and you please watch the video. You watched it? Or you will watch it? You were live. Oh, you missed the point then. Okay, cool. So one of our friend is saying ITO. So what are the things that were decided in the Bretton Woods conference? Fatapat, please tell me. The first thing you said is good answer, IBRD. And then IBRD later on became what? I gave you a dictation on this also. IBRD later on became what? World Bank Group. World Bank Group. World Bank Group. How many sister concerns? How many branches are there in World Bank Group? 5. World Bank Group, there are 5. But 2 of the things, IBRD plus IDA, are called as World Bank. Brilliant. Superb. Again, I am very happy because the speed at which you are giving the answer, brilliant. So IBRD, this is called exam preparation. That's point number 1. Point number 2, can you please tell me what else was done? Number 1. Number 2, exchange rate. Superb, because we are doing that topic called as exchange rate. Called as which exchange rate system? Superb. Bretton Woods exchange rate system. Brilliant. What is the third thing? Third thing is my interest area now. IMF. IMF. And why did we create IMF? Now let me tell you a different reason. Earlier I told you that IMF was created to maintain the exchange rate system. No, IMF was not created only for that. So first reason IMF was created was so that Bretton Woods exchange rate system could be maintained. So IMF said that I'll become the watchdog, I'll maintain everything. Okay, done, no problem. Second, IMF said it might happen in future. Guys, focus on this point now. IMF said it might happen in future that there are some countries in the world who have some dollars. They will give the dollar and they will import, continuously import. So when you continuously buy, what will happen? One day your pocket will become empty. An entire dollar will go outside and your pocket will be so empty that you won't be able to buy even essentials because your pocket is empty. So IMF said, now it will be my responsibility to make sure that before it happens, I control those countries. Because if you continuously buy, import, and you are not exporting anything, you will collapse. So IMF said, it is my responsibility to prevent economies from collapsing. Because if one country collapses, 20 other who are the friends of that country will also collapse. So IMF says, I have to prevent this collapse or crisis in the world. But if IMF wants to do all these things, don't you feel that IMF has to do some sort of surveillance? That is called stalking. Surveillance. So what does IMF do? IMF surveils all the countries in the world. So the first function of IMF is surveillance. Achha, when you stalk somebody, let us use the word stalking for fun. Huh? When you stalk somebody, wo jaake Facebook and Insta and Twitter, X, etc. Manas, so whenever you stalk somebody, what do? Do you create a report? This person has 25 friends. In last 5 hours, 1 extra friend added. 3 friends deleted. Will you create a report like this, Rajan? Like, your friend Ketan is saying, sir, you forgot one thing, last scene. Samajh aa raha hai. So, Ketan, let me speak to your parents today. So, Devanshu, all fine. Where are you lost today, Devanshu? Very rarely you are lost like this. Your friend Harsh is saying, I also count likes and dislikes. So guys, there is a reason I am talking about all this. What does IMF do? There is a direct connection. First, IMF will do the surveillance. What will IMF surveil? How much is the export? How much is the import? Then IMF will create a report. And IMF will say that this report I am going to publish either 6 monthly or yearly. And then IMF says, since my report says, India you are going to face some problem, or Sri Lanka and Pakistan you are going to face problem, I am going to interfere because you are my member. Now IMF will interfere. They don't call it interference, they call it intervention. It's a very fancy term for interference and destroying. Interference. So what will IMF do? IMF will intervene and say, let me fix you. I don't need fixing. But IMF says, no, I'll fix you. Because you are my member. And who are the countries who are dominating IMF? Why same old countries. US, UK, Germany, Japan, France, Italy. India's best friend Italy is also there. Right? So now let us see. So did you get an idea about what IMF does? Basic idea, not great details, but basic idea. Surveillance, reporting, action. All fine? Let's come back to IMF and let's see what IMF is doing. So let's remove all this. Chalo. You answer one question, please. Now, 1944, IMF is supposed to be established. Look carefully, bacho. Now, IMF is saying that I am going to help the countries by giving loans. I'm going to give loans to some other countries and I'm going to help them to come out of crisis. Why is the loan given? For crisis management. But how will IMF give loan? Who will give money to IMF? That's the question. Somebody has to give money to IMF also. So who are those countries which give money to IMF? The members. IMF acts pretty much like a bank. Members give the money to IMF. IMF gives the money to countries who require the loan. So IMF in 1944 said that I am going to collect contributions. That is called contribution. Country and country. Now, please answer a question, bacho. Suppose that this is the box of IMF where you have to fill cash. If you are the president of USA, how much cash would you like to fill? More cash or less cash?
Less cash.
Correct. So Manas is laughing. Manu is also, Manu less cash, very nice. So which means that you will put this much of dollars. See the reaction of what you said. So you are the president of USA, that's USA ka president. See what you have just done. That's USA. What have you done? You said I'll just give $1. Cool. Now comes China. China says, I'm going to fill this box with my currency. Right. And now, when a country like Bangladesh, that's Bangladesh, Bangladesh says, I need help. USA says, yeah, I'm ready to help you through IMF. China says, hold. Who gave you the power to help Bangladesh? It's my money. I will decide, boss. I am the ruler of this IMF because I contributed more. So I will decide whether Bangladesh will get help or not. Did you see the problem that happens when you jump a lot? That's what I was talking about. If you only follow the logic, this problem would never have happened. This answer should have come from you. Nobody should have made a mistake in this answer. Because making a mistake in this answer means only one thing. You are thinking ahead of time. Don't jump because there will be problems. So you should have understood this point that if there is a tijori, there is a box where people have to fill funds. If you are the president, you would like to fill more funds so that you can control the entire system. As your friend is saying, that more funds would mean control the system. So now what happened at that time? This is USA, 1944. Which country had the maximum, currency and gold? USA. So USA filled this entire box with dollars and USA said, I will decide how much currency to fill here. Everybody say, hey, wait. Why will you fill too much of currency in this? USA said, because, see what USA did. USA said, I will fill more currency. Everybody said, according to which formula? USA said, based on GDP. Because my GDP is high. GDP means national income is high. Wow. If your national income is high, so you created a very, formula which is so convenient to you. So imagine if the formula would have been, that country will fill the box with more currency, which country has not participated in any war. Or the country which has not initiated any big war, USA would be out of this system. But how convenient. You create a formula and say, if GDP is high, I will contribute. Of course your GDP is high, because you are the ones who created all these wars. So USA said, if your GDP is high, and the second condition put by USA was, if a particular country participates more in global trade, export and import, that country will contribute more. Obviously, you will contribute more in global trade because you are a colonizer. Of course, you are the ones who are destroying the entire world. So you, UK, France, Germany, you are the countries who are going to win this contest. So how clever, huh? You first create a box, then you create a formula that GDP is high. And if my participation in world trade is high, of course, I will contribute more. And who decides India's participation in world trade? British. Obviously, we are not free. How can we decide? So what did they do? They put more dollars. They started to control. Now the other countries started to say, hey, wait, what have you done? So they said, India, you increase your GDP. We will allow you to put more money, increase your GDP. So India was being represented in this through British. So what did India do? India contributed this much, little bit. So India contributed this chotu sa dollar. British contributed this much, UK, USA, all these countries, big contribution. So they started to control. Now, this was a generic story, but let me become slightly more specific. This is the part which I want to teach you. Don't worry, you will get a detailed handout on IMF, etc., from me. I'll also give you some dictations, but please first focus. Dictation handouts, I mean, they are always secondary. First is this. Along with this, dictation and handout becomes important. But first is this part only. Have a look at the board, please. And here, nobody should lose focus because this is very crucial. Very, very crucial. And let me tell you the connection of this one. Anybody who understands this very well, I promise you that you will understand this question very well. Anybody who cannot understand that concept of IMF which I am teaching you, you will not be able to answer this question. This question can be answered only under one condition, that you understand the concept of SDR very, very well. Without this, it is not possible to answer this UPSC 2022 question. Nobody can answer. So for that, SDR is very important. So let us go back and let us try to see what I have in mind. Look at this, please. Now, that's India. Look carefully, bacho. That's India and that's IMF. Now, when India was trying to become the member of IMF, very careful, okay, don't lose focus and don't jump. When India was trying to become the member of IMF, India also made a request to IMF that, can I contribute more? They said, sorry, you can contribute only on the basis of your GDP, only on the basis of your participation in world trade. So they said, based on that, India, you contribute. So we asked a question to IMF, how much can we contribute? So IMF said, this is IMF. So IMF said that India, what you can do is, this is the box we are giving you. This box will be called as IMF quota. You have to fill this box with cash. This will be called as your membership fee. And this whole box is called quota. Keep focusing, guys. So now India said, okay, then which currency do I have to put here? Look carefully, huh? So IMF said, divide this box into two parts. 75% of this box you have to fill rupee, only rupee. 25% part, you either put dollar, or you put Chinese currency renminbi, or you put euro, or you put Japanese currency yen, or the British currency pound sterling. Either of these you can put in this box. Malav, you can fill dollar, or you can fill pound sterling. Anything that you feel like, if you want to put, or you can create a combination of these currencies. So for example, you can take some dollars plus some Chinese currency renminbi, fill it here. So IMF said, either you take any one of these and fill it, or you take two of these, or you take three of these, you take four of these, fill it here. India said, okay. But then there is a problem. So now suppose this is rupee, and here you have put dollar, some renminbi, some euro, and some yen, and some pound sterling. We have put that. So which means that suppose this is India, and this is India's box. In India's box, this is rupee, and we have put renminbi, etc., euro. We have put all the currencies. And suppose this is Bangladesh ka box, which is like this. Bangladesh is also putting its domestic currency. What do you put here? Your domestic currency. So Bangladesh domestic currency is also rupee. So they will put rupee here and they will put, let's say, dollar and renminbi only. Now India started to ask a question that, hey, how do you compare these two quotas? India asked IMF that, IMF, can you please tell us what exactly is the unit of measurement of this? IMF said it's simple. Your domestic currency plus whatever is there, add it. India said, no, but it can't be compared. Because the currency is different. This is Bangladeshi taka. This is rupee. There are so many currencies. There is only two currencies. How can you compare? So India started to raise objection. Everybody started to say, this is weird. We can't compare. So immediately IMF said, oh, comparison is a problem. What is the solution of that? See, the solution of that is this. Look carefully at the board. So I have taken a box. Imagine, bacho, that there is a box like this. And what are you taking in the box? Suppose in this box, I have put $1 and 180 rupees currency. That is there in the box. $1, 180 rupees currency. A dollar looks like this, 80 rupees looks like this. For example. Now, if somebody will ask you, what is there inside this? What will you say? You will say $1 plus 80 rupees. That is what you will say. $1 plus 80 rupees. Or there can be another answer. The another answer could be $1 is equal to suppose 80 rupees. So we can say that in this box there are $2. Or we can also say 160 rupees. Or a third answer could be, three answers are possible. Confused. There is another box where only $2 are present. So what are the answers you could give? If somebody will ask you what is there inside this box, very same formula, you will say $1 plus $1 or $1 plus rupees 80, or you will say rupees 160. Oh, same. So suppose in this box I have put two currencies. In this box only $2. So if somebody will say compare these two boxes. Simple. $1 is equal to 80 rupees. I have told you this. So this box is $2. This box I am already putting $2. So now these two boxes are same. Let's take a third box. In this box we have two notes. 80 rupees currency note, 80 rupees currency note. Obviously same. Because 80 rupees is equal to $1, $1, $2. Three boxes are same. What about that? Only 80 rupees. So can we call it $1? Yeah. But then this box is different. How will you compare? This looks very easy because there are two currencies. Now take 5, 6, 20, 10 currencies. How will you compare? Very difficult. So IMF says, let me design something. That's what IMF did for comparison purpose. See, a beautiful thing designed by IMF. IMF said, take a big box. Absolutely PM. All the boxes were same. Take a big box like this. So what has IMF done? That's a box. IMF said, take a box like this. This is 43% of the box, roughly. Because if I do this, it's 50%. So little less, 43%. So IMF said, fill the 43% of this box with dollars. I'll tell you the reason why. Fill 43% with dollars from bottom to top, 43%. So I am representing this here, 43%, this part, 43% with dollars. Then IMF says remaining 30%, which means go little up. This is the whole box. So go little up, 30% with euro. So roughly 75% done. Now take remaining 12%, renminbi, 7.6% yen, 7.4% pound sterling. Entire box is filled. What have you done here? How many currencies have we taken? 5. And why have we filled 43% of this box with dollars? That means we are giving importance of 43% to the dollar. That is called weights. And why did you attach so much of importance to dollar? There is a reason. IMF has done it for a reason. Can you guess the reason? What does IMF promote? Free trade or restricted trade? Free trade. IMF always promotes free trade, globalization. So IMF says, I am going to make a list, bacho, be careful. IMF says, I am going to make a list of top 5 countries in the world who are the top 5 exporters. So IMF says, if a country is in the list of top 5 exporting countries of the world, I will take their domestic currency and I will call their currency as international currency. That's the first definition of international currency that you got. So IMF said, since the contribution or the participation of US in international trade, especially export, is very high, we are giving more importance. Because roughly 43% of global trade takes place in dollars. That's the reason that this weight has been put. Earlier this weight was higher. This weight was close to 50%. But then China started to dominate. So to accommodate China, the importance of dollar and euro had to be reduced. Because China also became one of the biggest, largest exporting countries of the world. And you have to accept that reality. So the contribution, the weight of dollar was reduced actually. It was much higher here. It was way above 45%. So dollar reduced, euro reduced, Chinese currency, it got 12% weight. See, 12%. When was Chinese currency introduced? Chinese currency was never in this basket. In the year 2016, October 2016, Chinese currency was introduced here. Before that, Chinese currency was nowhere in this basket. It was not called as global currency. But now roughly 12 to 13% of global trade takes place in Chinese currency. So this shows your participation in the global trade. That's why the medium of payment in the world is roughly dollars. So dollar has huge importance. So what did IMF do? IMF said, I am going to make a list of top 5 currencies of the world. How? based on its contribution in export and overall trade. Dollar became very important, and that is how 43% to dollar, etc., etc. So guys, when you take this box, look very carefully, because this is the place where 99% people don't understand the concept. First of all, if you ask anybody that why 43% for dollar, 99% times they will not tell you why. They will tell you because dollar is important. Important how? As a medium of payment in exports. It is in the list of top 5 exporting country, and the medium of payment in the world, roughly 43 to 44% is dollars. That's why that's the weight. That's the first thing. So you take a box and fill 43% of the box with dollars, remaining 30% here, 12% here, 7%, 7.5. This box is complete. What is the name of this box? 1 SDR. This box is called as 1 SDR, which means if you take a nice box and if you give importance to dollars like this, which means you keep the composition of the box fixed, then you call it as 1S. So this entire box is called SDR box. Now, there is one interesting thing which you should focus. What did I tell you? Look carefully. Suppose that in my pocket, this is a pocket, this is rupee, I have kept it. This is dollar, I have kept it in my pocket. Similarly, I am going to keep 4 or 5 things. If somebody will ask you that, what is the name of this pocket? Will you say that this pocket is a new currency? This pocket is a pocket or basket of currencies. So if somebody will ask you, what is this basket? What is this box? Is this box a new currency? No, it's just a box. You took a box and you put 5 currencies. So what is this basket or box? This is a box of 5 currencies mixed in a fixed proportion. The beauty of this box is the content of this box has been mixed in a fixed proportion. So this is not a currency. Suppose I have a wallet in my pocket. In my wallet, I am keeping dollar, I am keeping euro, I am keeping pound sterling. Does my wallet become a currency? Will you call my wallet as currency, new currency called wallet? No. That's your wallet. This box is the wallet. This is that wallet. In this, you are putting these currencies. Simple. Which means that, are you okay? AC temperature. So, can we change the temperature on this side? See? So, what is happening here? So we took all these currencies in a fixed proportion, and then we are calling this entire box as SDR. But there is something interesting. Can you convert pound sterling, yen, renminbi, euro, everything into dollar? Can we do that? Yes. Yeah, we can. Obviously, exchange rate. We have been studying exchange rate. Go to a currency dealer and ask the question that, hello, Mr. Dealer or Ms. Dealer, can you please convert pound sterling into dollar? Obviously, easily you can do it. You can convert every currency into dollar. Convert it. If you convert this entire thing into dollar, and I told you what is the name of this entire box, 1 SDR. And if you go and do that at the global level, yes, by assigning certain weights to these currencies. How do you assign weights to these currencies during conversion? So for example, if you go to a currency dealer and tell the currency dealer, dealer, I have 1 euro, can you convert it into dollar? Dealer will ask you a question. Dealer will say that, sir, how many dollars do you need? You'll say, whatever you give. I mean, it's not very important, but if you could do it. But suppose 1 lakh people go to the dealer and everybody says, convert my euro into dollar, euro into, oh, that means now the demand of dollar is very high. So then what would happen if everybody wants to convert? So then you will have to give more euro to get $1. Because everybody is going with euro. You go with euro, you go with euro, you go with... Entire batch, online and offline, comes to me. I am the dealer. And you are saying, sir, we have euro, can you convert into dollars? And if I see too many people coming, what will I do? I will say, everybody needs dollar. Matlab, dollar is more important. So what will I do with you then? I will say, give me more euros so that I can give you $1. So value of dollar will rise, euro will go down. So it means that whenever you go to convert a currency, at that time, whatever is the force of demand and supply, based on that you can convert the currency. So when I was checking today morning before coming to your class, just randomly on the way, that if somebody takes this entire box to a dealer and tells that, hello Mr. Dealer, there is a box which I have. In this box there are 5 currencies. This box is called as 1 SDR. I want to convert this entire box into dollars. Take this box to a dealer. You know how many dollars will the person give you, the dealer give you today morning? $1.33. 1.33. 1.33. That's today's value. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. 1.33. So if somebody will ask you that if you take this box to a dealer today, there are 5 currencies, and I told you the value of each currency depends on forces of demand and supply, or maybe some central bank in these countries is deliberately doing evaluation or evaluation. Some countries do that also. So forces of demand and supply, devaluation, revaluation, God knows what all are happening. We have no idea what the countries are doing. But today when you take this box to a dealer, dealer has an idea. So when you take this box to a dealer and say, dealer, can you give me dollars for this entire box? This is too confusing. Dealer, can you just give me dollars? Dealer will say, yeah, how much is this? So dealer will check that, is there 43% dollar? Is there 12% renminbi? Is there 30% euro? They will check that in this box, is the quantity of the currency fixed? If it is fixed, they will take this box from you and they will directly give you $1.33. What has IMF done now? IMF is very clever. IMF says that India, you want to become my member. That's your box you have to fill. So now see what IMF did. IMF said 1 SDR is equal to $1.33 today. So what will IMF tell you? IMF will tell you that India, in this box, you have to fill 4 lakh SDRs. So whenever you become IMF member, the answer to the question that IMF, how much money should I give you so that I can become your member? IMF will never give you the answer in dollar and rupee. They will only talk about one unit of measurement. It's not a currency. I told you that this basket is not a currency. It's a collection of currencies called as one basket is 1 SDR. So IMF will tell you, India, you have to contribute 4 lakh SDRs. Now India will be 4 lakh SDR is how much? So immediately IMF will tell you that India, don't worry, let me split the formula for you. So then IMF tells that India, your quota is 4 lakh SDR. Immediately we'll ask IMF what to do. IMF says 75% of this you have to put in rupee and remaining you have to put in either dollar, this or SDRs. I will show this to you. So if IMF says 75% of this has to be in rupee, what is 75% of this? 3 lakh SDRs. So this 3 lakh SDRs have to be in rupee. So how will you convert 3 lakh SDR into rupee? I'll tell you. 1 SDR is equal to $1.33. 1 rupee is, $1 is equal to rupees 85. So 1 SDR is equal to $1.33 and we know $1 is equal to 85 rupee. So this much dollar is equal to into this much rupee. Fine. So did we find the relationship between SDR and rupee using this exchange rate? Everything fine? It's simple. $1 is equal to 85 rupee. 1 SDR is equal to this. You multiply it with 85, you get rupee. So 1 SDR is equal to suppose 100 rupee. Example. So now you have to fill 3 lakh SDRs. So do it. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into 100. This will be the rupee. This is what IMF does. So now when Bangladesh will call India and say, hey India, how much did you put here in 75%? India will not give the answer in rupee because Bangladesh will be confused. India will say 3 lakh SDRs. And then we will ask Bangladesh, hey Bangladesh, how much did you pay? They will say, come on, we paid just like 1.5 lakh SDRs. And then we'll laugh at Bangladesh. We'll say, Bangladesh, see, you paid 1.5 only. We paid 3. Why did we pay 3? Because we are a bigger economy. GDP is big. Based on your GDP, you pay that. What is this 25%? 25% would mean 1 lakh SDR. And 1 lakh SDR. This 25% is 1 lakh SDR. So now IMF tells us, look at this. IMF tells us that India, that's your box. In this box, you pay rupee, but this will be 3 lakh SDRs. And India says, this is, IMF says, this is 1 lakh SDR for you, India. So India says, how to fill this? So IMF says, simple. You take a box like this, ऐसे. See what IMF tells us. This is interesting part. So IMF tells us that India, you can do this. See. So IMF says, India, you want to fill this 25% part? No. You have multiple options. One option is you put only dollars, fill it. Second option, you take pound sterling, British currency, fill it. You take Japanese yen, fill it. Renminbi, or euro or any combination of this. India says, is there any other way? Because we are confused, we don't have all this. So then IMF tells India that India, don't worry, don't fill all this. Can you create boxes like this? And what is so special about this box? 43% dollar, 30% euro, 12% Chinese currency, then pound sterling and yen, 7%, 7.5%. So IMF then asks India, can you create SDRs like this? Each box is one SDR. So IMF says, can you create SDRs? How can you create SDR? For that, you need to have these 5 foreign currencies in your pocket. More complex. So which means India must have these 5 currencies, huge amount of these 5 currencies. So then India can create, each box will be one SDR. So then what will India do? India will take it and put it here. India will take it, put it here. See? You filled the box. So if somebody will ask you, what can you fill in this 25%? You should say any 5 currencies or any combination of 5 currencies or SDRs. So now if somebody will ask India, that India, what is the total IMF quota that has been given to you? India will say 3 plus 1, 4 lakh SDRs. That's it. So that's your SDR. So if you look at the board, can you please tell me, what is SDR? SDR is a basket of 5 currencies or SDR is a new currency? Basket of 5 currencies. This question has been asked in UPSC. Second statement. Can you please tell us if I am correct or wrong? That SDR is a unit of measurement of account of IMF. Unit of measurement of account. Absolutely correct. Can we say that SDR is a new concept of holding reserves in a country?
Yes.
So if Reserve Bank of India wants to keep a lot of dollars, euro, pound, sterling, don't keep it separately. Collect it at one go, 43%, etc., call it one SDR. So it's a new system of keeping reserves. So can we say that it's a new unit of measuring reserves in a country? Yes. So can anybody create these boxes in the world? No. You need permission of IMF. You are IMF member, then you can do it, or you need permission of IMF. You can't just do it like that. Some agencies have the permission, like Asian Development Bank has the permission. They can create these things. India has the permission, India is a member. So did you understand this basic concept today? Because I think it's time, so I won't be able to teach you more. I was not stopping 15 minutes back because we have already started. This I will take up again tomorrow. This was the basic idea. No dictations, no technicalities. Tomorrow I'll teach you the same concept of SDR in a different way. Slightly more technical, slightly differently. So tomorrow we'll do that. So all fine. Because this is the level at which you have to operate for UPSC. It is important. These concepts are very important. So tomorrow we'll see more and advantages. Yes. But again, that's a value judgment question. Abhi leave it. Just focus on the part which we have done. So your friend is asking a question that are these 5 currencies more important? Obviously, from IMF perspective, it is important, but let's not get into that value judgment. Because I told you that why these 5 currencies are there. The reason being that these are the top 5 exporting countries of the world. That's the reason that they have been given that position. First SDR concept, of course, yes. But when I teach you the same concept tomorrow, you will find it to be a little more comfortable. Because tomorrow I'll teach you the same concept again. Today I just wanted to introduce, but tomorrow I'll teach you the same concept. Same thing again by drawing live diagrams, I'll do it tomorrow. Fine. How the value of one SDR is calculated, I mean the volume of the volume. Yeah, of course. That's why Rajan, I told you concept of weighted average. Thank you so much, guys. Weighted average, you remember? Good day. Weighted average. So what you do is you take the weighted average of all the currencies, 5 currencies at that moment in the world, that what is the importance of each currency based on demand, supply, devaluation, revaluation. When you go to a currency dealer, they will tell you which currency is more important today. So it might happen that euro becomes more important than dollars. So then if you give that basket full of euros, you might get more dollars. So the concept of weighted average is used along with many other factors which affect the value of a currency. Don't go into all that. Your friend is asking why Indian currency is not put in that box, because we are not in the list of top 5 exporting countries. That's why we are not getting into that. Is not SDR causing depreciation as more dollars are getting reserved? Obviously, yes. That's why if US creates an objection that I don't want my currency to be in SDR, IMF will have to take out the currency. So the very fact that US has agreed, for that permission of US was taken. The day US feels that I don't want my currency in that box, it will be taken out. oh, no problem, you take care of your health, that is more important. And then only you will be able to do well. So Ketan, take care. We'll be coming to tomorrow's class. We'll be really happy. Come in tomorrow's lecture so that you can show me the diagrams which you have drawn today. And tomorrow we'll start the lecture with IMF only. And I will show you how actually, example, many of your friends have left, so I'm not going to teach you anything, but I'll show you tomorrow when we reach the class. We'll draw this box again, and then I'll explain the entire game to you slightly more technically with some dictation so that it becomes more clear. Dekho, economics is a subject where when I introduce the concept for the first time, I normally do it like this only. It is more informal. Like I'll play with a lot of diagrams here, there. And once I feel that my students are comfortable, then we become technical. So to explain SDR, the best thing that and the only thing which was possible for me to do was this only, which I showed you. So for example, remember, I gave you this box and I told you this is SDR. Then I told you this is IMF quota, 25%. So I was thinking how to teach you this concept, and then I realized that if I create boxes like this and then I put it here, you will understand that I'm putting SDRs. That's the best way to understand that, okay, SDRs are being put here. So this side is very confusing. Tomorrow we'll see it again, but roughly this is the concept. Which slide do you want to see? Simple. So $1 is equal to rupees 85. 1 SDR is equal to $1.33. So what you need to do is, you need to just multiply, use the simple process of multiplication. You can convert this as SDR is in dollar only. If you multiply it by 85, you can convert this whole thing into rupee. You can easily find that SDR is equal to how much of rupee. Okay. Yes, definitely Rajan, it will be different. So for example, suppose that you take a box of this size and then you take a box of this size. So suppose that this is 100 units of currency is inside this. 100 currency notes are there. So roughly, let's say 40% of this box is US dollars. So how many currency notes are there? If 100 notes are there, roughly 40 currency notes becomes dollar. But if there are 200 currency notes here in this box, and if I tell you that 40% is dollars, so how many currency notes are actually dollar? 80 currency notes are dollars here. Because absolute number where it becomes 80. Because 40% of 200 is 80. So in absolute sense, if you increase the size of the box, in absolute numbers, the dollar will increase, percentage will remain the same. So whenever you create SDR, you create, dekho, SDR, if you try to make it simple, it becomes simple. See how. You just imagine a wallet that you are keeping in your pocket. If somebody tells you that whatever notes are there in your wallet, suppose you have 100 currency notes. So SDR says 43 notes should be dollar. 43 notes, just take it to be 43, 43 notes in your wallet, and remaining 30 euro, let's say 12 renminbi, 7.6% pound sterling and yen. So that means that entire wallet that you have in percentage terms, then that wallet is called one SDR. And in that SDR, this is the distribution of the currencies, 43%, 30%, etc. This is how you can take it. This will help you to solve the question. Oh, definitely. No, you guys have more patience. In fact, you always listen to the advices I give you. That's the reason. So if we go and study economics we can study the same thing in 3 years. Absolutely correct. So who said? Manu said, yeah, Manu, you are right. In Delhi school, they will in fact not teach you SDRs. They will directly start to use SDRs. If you ask them what is SDR, they will tell you that, sorry, you are expected to know all this from your side. So, go in the library, spend 6 months, learn SDR, come in the class. That is what they do with us there. That's the reason that capacity building happens. They push us in the ocean, and if you ask doubts, they will never clear the doubts. In D school, the culture of doubt clearing does not exist. And if you dare ask a question in the class, what they do is they will ask 250 questions in return, and you will say, thank you so much. So basically, initially we used to hate this concept, and later on we realized, wow. Because they didn't clear the doubts, so we used to go in library. And in the library, there was no single book to answer. We used to study 20 books to get one question. So what has happened is absolutely Manas, and there is deliberately I was not telling you this because that is decimals. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So your friend Manas has mentioned a point. If you want, I can share that. You will really like it. So very good, because I thought that few things let me say for tomorrow. So see, for example, when you are talking everything in percentage, 43%, 30%, 12%, blah, blah, all these things. What did I tell you? This is called as 1 SDR. Immediately your friend Manu, what he did is, he said, sir, I'm studying CSAT. If you are mentioning percentage here, then you should not call it 1, you should call it 100%. Because everything is percent, why is it 1? It should be 100. What he did is very smartly, he said, oh, you mean to say, sir, 1 SDR is this box, that means this is not 43, this is 0.43. This is 0.3, this is 0.12. Obviously correct. What your friend has done is, I was constantly mentioning that this is 1 unit of SDR. And then I was telling that in one box means 1 unit. 1 unit of XDR, $43. Your friend said, either I can call it 43 or I can call it as 0.43. So if you call it 0.43, then don't call it percentage. Otherwise you can call it 43%. So he is converting everything from percentage to decimals. Like for example, if there is a number 1 can be split into 0.4 plus 0.3 plus 0.3. Right, I say you can split it, or you can do it like this, 0.2 plus 0.1. Or you can convert this into 100% and say 40% plus 30% plus 20% plus 10%. That's also one of the ways. Absolutely. So what your friend Manu did is, he converted this into this. The value of 1 shouldn't be to incorporate the size. How can we make the general statement? Yeah, because we can make it. The reason being that you are bringing down everything into decimals, Rajan. So for example, this is 1 SDR. And suppose this is one currency called as dollar. We have given a weight to dollar, 0.4 in this box. But then when you go in the market to convert other currencies into dollar, for example, you want to convert euro into dollar. If you go in the market, so what they will do is, $1 is equal to 0.92 euro. Today's rate. Today they will give you this rate. Tomorrow when you go to convert, this will not be 0.92. Depending on the forces of demand and supply, it might become 0.75 euros. So depending on what day you are converting, you can convert each of the component that is mentioned here into dollars. Each of the components based on market forces. And then when you add them, you will see that $1 will be equal to today 1.33, 1 SDR is equal to, 1 SDR means this one, in terms of decimals will be equal to $1.33. So for that you will have to do little bit of maths, little bit of those things, but it is not percentage as your friend caught. That's the reason I took Manas point, because he split everything into decimals. If you do everything into decimal, it's easy to see that if this is not 1, suppose this is 1 SDR. Now it is easy to see, it is 1 SDR. So suppose this is dollar, this is euro, this is renminbi. Now you can convert everything into dollar. You will get very close to 1.33. That's what your friend did. Fine. So rest of the things we'll do tomorrow, SDR, etc. Pankaj, all fine. Pankaj, what happened to you? Pankaj is carefully watching. He's saying that, Manas, why did you do that? Why did you bring decimals? Right. So, Manu, all fine. What are you reading? Manu, don't jump. Return back. All right. See, if we control the emotions, what will happen is learning will become easy and smooth. Efficiency will improve. So tomorrow we'll catch up from here onwards and we'll do the content tomorrow. Huh? So thank you so much, guys, and see you tomorrow. Just revise today's things as much as you can at the end of the day, and tomorrow we'll take it from here again. 43. You can say that. Rajan, you can say it. In percentage, you can take 100. In decimal, you can take 1. Thank you so much.